who protect the red, white, and blue. AM 560, The Answer.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. It's fitting that the Supreme Court has decided 303 Creative LLC versus Elenis in June, LGBTQ Pride Month. Like the well-known Masterpiece Cake Shop case, 303 Creative explores the tension between LGBTQ public accommodation rights and a business owner's First Amendment right not to be forced to use her creative talents to express a message violating her religious convictions. Thankfully, the majority has vindicated Colorado website designer Lori Smith's First Amendment freedoms, holding that she can't be forced to create sites at odds with her deeply held religious beliefs. Colorado argued that once Smith created a wedding site, she had to sell it to gay and straight customers alike. The court has made it clear. Anti-discrimination laws aren't intended to bludgeon creative workers into disseminating messages that violate their beliefs. It's a great day for the First Amendment and the constitutional rights of all Americans.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
5:10 on AM 560. The Answer. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service this morning of Blindster.com, selling custom blinds designed for do-it-yourselfers. Unlike stock blinds offered at big box retailers, Blindster blinds are custom made for your windows. Shipping is free. Save big at Blindster.com. Inbound on the Edens Expressway this morning, nothing there, and we expect the Kennedy to be fairly smooth. It's 20 minutes in from O'Hare right now. Outbound Kennedy, an earlier accident at Division has just been removed out of your way. The Ike, no problems now. There was earlier some light standing water between Des Plaines and Harlem Avenue near Salt Creek. That has been taken care of. Lane closures have been removed on both the inbound and the outbound Eisenhower. However, that NASCAR race that very nearly wasn't is going to be disrupting things through the end of the 4th of July as they tear down what they built up over the last couple of weeks. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Mostly sunny. Looks like a nice afternoon. Our high today up to 87. Clear and humid tonight, low 68. Hot and humid on Independence Day. Sun and clouds, high tomorrow 92. Clouds, a strong thunderstorm on Wednesday, high 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
We'll call it mostly clear. 65 now at O'Hare. And it is 63 along Chicago's lakefront, 64 at Midway, 60 in Aurora, 63 at DuPage Airport, and your Lake Michigan water temp this morning, 65. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Gatto Industrial Platers, Inc. is the specialist in zinc and zinc nickel plating. Gatto is big, they're good, and they're easy to work with. Their high production rack plating line has up to a 27-foot capacity to handle any zinc plating requirement. Gatto's 210,000 square foot facility can process 300 tons per day and offers complete custom packaging with available pickup and delivery in the Chicago metro area by Gatto's own fleet of trucks. All of Gatto's products are inspected and certified to ensure that each customer is receiving the best and most cost-effective plating protection. Gatto is home to King Kong, the largest zinc plating line in North America that can zinc plate parts up to 27 feet long and weighing up to 8,000 pounds. For a quote and fast 24 to 48-hour service, call George Gatto Jr. or George Gatto Sr. at 1-800-290-1223. That's 1-800-290-1223. 1-800-290-1223. When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at CrosscomInc.com. That's CrosscomInc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts: knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE, Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
The Venture X card from Capital One gives you premium travel benefits, perfect for seeing Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Presented by Capital One. Ooh, I do love her. Earn 5 times miles on flights and 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel.
Enjoy your stay in Suite 13.
Whoa, 13? That's Taylor's lucky number. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer. Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, I'm Raquel.
And I'm Babette.
Here to invite you to listen to our show, Belly of the Beast,
where we tackle all the hot topics and issues that you are talking about today.
So join us each week for our
hard-hitting,
fun,
informative,
topical,
out there
radio show where we leave nothing on the table.
Belly of the Beast, heard every Saturday evening at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer. And follow us on Facebook at Belly of the Beast IL.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. These stories from Chicago over the weekend. A few to cover. My favorite story.
Which one? NASCAR?
No. The Neiman Marcus being robbed by Neiman Marcus.
I know. We shouldn't laugh, but I mean...
Why shouldn't we laugh? Chicago man charged with shoplifting using stolen credit card at Neiman Marcus is Neiman Marcus. Neiman Marcus Collins is his name.
Do you think he's been waiting to rob them his entire life?
Yeah.
Now's my moment.
Uh-huh.
Neiman Marcus is going to rob Neiman Marcus.
Yeah. In a related story, Red Lobster Smith is charged with walking on his tab at Neiman Marcus Collins. There's a family that had grand visions for their son enjoying the finer things in life.
Yes.
Maybe just a bit of confusion. He thought maybe that Neiman Marcus was just a place where he could go and pick up stuff, given that. So there's that sort of a related story just in terms of having fun with crime, because what else are we to do when you live in urban centers that are lawless? A New York gunman kills apartment resident, flees, trips over his, knee-length trousers, shoots himself accidentally and dies. Murder, accidental suicide in New York. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of gallows humor here, or I don't know what to say about it. But on a serious note, and I mean, if you want to, lament the deluge yesterday and NASCAR, I don't know. I didn't really watch much of it. I'm sure.
Oh, you didn't
wonderful.
watch it? Oh.
Yeah.
I watched it,
and
then I fell asleep.
Give us the
and
details.
Then I woke back up.
Yeah.
Number 91. His name is Shane Van Gisbergen. Very exciting. But
boy, now I really feel bad I didn't watch it. I can understand why you were shaming me for not watching it. God, it's riveting. What a storyteller, too.
The pile up on Michigan Avenue, 14-car pile up, torn 4 and 2. They kept slamming into the tires there. But it was not what I thought the stands were going to be packed, and it was pretty empty. And I don't know if it was because of the rain, but I know my friend works at a hotel, and they were expecting it to be sold out like the Taylor Swift concert, and it was a big nothing.
Yeah, it's shocking seeing how this is MAGA country. You would think MAGA country would also be NASCAR country, but maybe it's not.
I know. Yeah, that's the thing, too. People are like, why do we want those fans here anyway? I'm like, well, what does that mean by those fans? You mean Trump supporters? Republicans? because I got into it with one of my hairdressers about that. So
Mm.
it was one guy who, I don't know if you've been to Millennium Hall. It's a restaurant. Here's the owner.
Flooding out here in front of the restaurant. We have minimal amount of people. We were ready to open up outside on the patio, and it's just raining like crazy.
And he said inside they weren't even full. People didn't even go. I mean, nobody went downtown because NASCAR was there and it was a traffic tie-up, and nobody was there to watch the race, except for a few people that I felt were paid to go down there or won tickets.
Don't we have Peter Griffin? Is Peter Griffin joining us this morning? Okay. Going back to the crime beat, since that's semi-interesting, at least, if we could clear that threshold. Do we have a serial killer in Chicago? I saw this, of course, not covered by the Chicago Press Corps, covered by the Daily Mail. Remains of 10 men and 6 women have been pulled from Chicago's waterways since the beginning of 2022. So the river and Lake Michigan. The latest is June 12th. Authorities have yet to announce a cause of death in the 26-year-old who was pulled from Lake Michigan a couple of weeks ago.
He was at the Salt Shed at a concert, and then somehow he and his friend got separated, and he has a girlfriend. People have said he had no reason in the world to commit suicide. So I don't know what happened to him. And I don't know if there's an appetite out there to find who did this to him or any of the others who ended up in the lake and in the river.
16 people. I mean, you have people drown every summer because they underestimate the power of Lake Michigan and the tide, the undercurrent. But 16 people found drowned since the start of 2022, declared accidents. Only one ruled a suicide. 13 more either undetermined or pending. And so this is not just like idle theorizing. This is actually the opinion of an FBI agent, Tracy Wilder, telling the New York Post she believes there could be a serial killer involved. There's too many coincidences. By the way, she also previously worked for CAA. She said, in a case like this, there's so many similar patterns right across the board, so it's not a coincidence anymore. In her opinion, dumping a body in the river is a perfect crime because forensic evidence is going to be, for the most part, non-existent. I don't know. I mean, could have a serial killer on the loose in Chicago. Makes for even a more exciting summer than with Neiman Marcus Collins running around.
Hey, he stole a fancy backpack. He's got, a case of the Sam Britton. He took a $1,213 backpack and some other things. So he's got really good taste, Neiman Marcus.
Well, he was stealing from Neiman Marcus.
Right.
It was Neiman Marcus. So, yeah, I don't know what they have in the discount bin over at Neiman Marcus. But, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And a $364 sweatshirt. Yeah,
I just thought I'd raise
things.
the issue of a serial killer. I don't know if that's of interest to anybody. It'd generate markedly more interest than the murders du jour every weekend. So I just, the house party mass shooting du jour, this time in Baltimore, the explosives that were set off in D.C., all the stuff that has become sort of de rigueur in big city America. I just thought maybe a serial killer would, mix it up a little bit and generate some interest, but perhaps not. Matt, Mount Greenwood.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Happy to say the streets are pretty empty on the way to work this morning, but I digress. Anyways, I was driving around yesterday, and I turned on another channel just to check out the weather. Ironically, there was a talking head on there interviewing a gentleman who was leaving a concert recently in Chicago, and he said a guy following him, yada, 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 and they were talking about that, the alleged, is there a serial killer? Well, of course, it wasn't a reporter or talking head, but it was a woman who is on another news channel talking about it. But again, it doesn't catch, to your point, it doesn't catch any attention from the talking heads.
Well, you know why that is, Matt. I mean, it's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful city, and
they said for 4 hours during the rain delay for NASCAR.
yeah, and so
Look
hey,
what
we need to, this bad rap that Chicago has. You get Chicago out of your mouth. You don't talk about Chicago unless you're a Chicago resident. You don't talk about crime. You don't talk about taxes. You don't talk about people leaving. You don't talk about general lawlessness and incompetence intended to this cacistocracy. You just celebrate Chicago, and talking about a possible serial killer is not very celebratory, is it?
No, it's not. But you know what, Dan? I have to tell you, I made a dollar bet with a friend of mine on Friday. And, I am a city resident, and I shouldn't celebrate this stuff, but I'm actually starting to enjoy the demise of the city. And I'm thinking to myself, how much money did the city lose to this NASCAR debacle? Nobody went down there. It was a total joke.
No, thanks for the call, Matt. Appreciate it.
And people walked out, and people left, because of the rain. But also, I don't even think that it was sold out event. I mean, how much money did that cost, and what did we get for coughing up that kind of cash?
In more important news, we do have to memorialize the passing of radio legend Dick Biondi over the weekend, or at least it was announced over the weekend. 90 years old. Did you interact with him at LS?
Oh, loved him. If I had a coffee break or something, I would go up and spend time with him just to hear the history that he had at the station. Wonderful, nice man, and he did not want to retire ever.
Yeah, he was off the air since 2017, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I was there, when I would do like special broadcasts in the evenings, like after, like doing post game after presidential debates or State of the Union address, so he was around, and like in the break room, we chat, and he was always very encouraging and very complimentary. We had lovely chats. He was a true gentleman. So I just wanted to remark upon his passing as well. Obviously, the longevity of 57 years in the industry speaks for itself. And I was reading, up about him again, refreshing some of my recollection. I love this interview he gave. This is like 35 years ago, where at that time he'd been fired 23 times. By his count. And if you go in Biondi's bio, you look at all the stations he worked for. It's sort of, he had a great attitude about it. It's kind of funny, and it's also sort of telling that, it's a fickle business, but which speaks to the accomplishment that is 57 years in the business too. So anyway, rest in peace, Dick Biondi.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We had another couple SCOTUS decisions of import on Friday. We'll go over them all and the reaction, particularly from the left, at 5:38.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
5:31. We have hazy but clear skies. 62 degrees, and police in 2 states are investigating weekend mass shootings. In Maryland, 2 were killed, 28 others wounded, with multiple suspected gunmen. Opened fire at a party in South Baltimore. Meantime, a shooting in a Wichita, Kansas nightclub left several injured on Sunday morning. There is 1 suspect in custody. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is planning to visit China this week.
The Treasury Department made the announcement Sunday, saying Yellen is expected to discuss a number of financial issues with senior Chinese officials. It's part of the Biden administration's efforts to improve relations between the two world's biggest economies. Her 3-day trip comes after Secretary of State Antony Blinken traveled to China last month to meet with President Xi, whom President Biden recently labeled as a dictator. Yellen is slated to visit Beijing on Thursday. I'm Mark Mayfield.
A new poll shows a majority of Americans are siding with the Supreme Court decision to remove race as a factor in college admissions. Thousands of hotel workers have gone on strike in Southern California, demanding better pay and other benefits. The union says it represents more than 30,000 hospitality workers throughout California and some in Arizona. Popular roller coaster at a North Carolina amusement park has been shut down after a major crack was discovered in a steel support beam. This gentleman, Jeremy Wagner, saw the crack first and reported it.
I was thinking, this is crazy. And I just happened to see that crack. I'm like, I can see light through it. And I'm not an engineer, but that's not good.
Officials at Carowinds in Charlotte made the announcement regarding the Fury attraction. Visitors' photos shared on social media showed the crack was visible nearly a week ago. Video on Friday showed the pillar was fully severed. Wall Street opening this morning, but closing early today in advance of the 4th of July holiday. Three major averages did log winning weeks as the closing bell rang on Friday, the Dow up 285. A violent holiday weekend continues in Chicago as police reporting 30 shot, 5 fatally, 3 alone on Friday night. A Chicago firefighter is recovering after he was injured during a blaze in the city's Austin neighborhood. Fire crews responded yesterday to the blaze in the 1200 block of North Laverne early yesterday morning. That injured firefighter was taken to nearby West Suburban Medical Center, later transported to a critical care center. The Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Chicago took some measures to try and alleviate flooding after heavy weekend rains. Sunday, officials announced they've allowed water from the Chicago River to flow back into Lake Michigan. The move comes after up to 6 inches of rain fell over the past 2 days in much of the suburbs where some of the worst flooding took place. Rain nearly washed out NASCAR's first ever Chicago street race on Sunday. After attempting to start early and beat the storms, NASCAR was forced to push back the start of the race to 5:30. Once underway, a series of NASCAR firsts happened in Chicago. Shane Van Gisbergen won the race in his first career Cup Series start in NASCAR's inaugural street race. A first-time driver hasn't won on the NASCAR circuit in over 60 years, since Midwestern driver Johnny Rutherford did it. Meantime, more information on the accidental death of a man at that NASCAR track on Friday is now available. 53-year-old Dwayne Tobinski was working in the paddock, and the cause of death has now been ruled electrocution. White Sox held off a late rally in their 8-7 win over the A's. Cubs couldn't capitalize on a 4-run ninth in a 8-6 10-inning loss to the Guardians at Wrigley. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
The feeble fascist and the entire upper echelon of the Democrat Party is a big, giant, pay-to-play scheme mafia. They get to lie with impunity, and they lie knowingly. And what does the lie lead to? The fact that the sitting president, although he doesn't know it and he's sitting in his own urine, the sitting president is an asset of enemies, foreign. We know. And we also know about the domestic, but we're used to unions.
The Sean Thompson Show, weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Dennis Prager. Now you can listen to my show when it's convenient for you and without censorship from big tech. Become a member of the ultimate online community for all things Prager. It's Pragertopia Unlimited. Listen to every radio show over the last 10 years, all commercial free. You can even listen to all my Torah teachings for free. Join today and save 25% off the first year and get a free Pragertopia coffee mug. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at DennisPrager.com.
When you're in the market to buy or sell a home, commercial property, or even vacant land, let attorney Susan J. Kim step in. She's reliable, responsive, personable, and extremely thorough when helping you deal with an otherwise stressful transaction. Attorney Kim leads with her values and is committed to providing legal services with excellence. To contact Attorney Kim, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com. Whether it's drafting agreements, negotiating contract terms, or closing on a property, Attorney Susan J. Kim can do it all. Over 10 years of experience and her wealth of knowledge tackling complicated legal negotiations and breaking them down into a smooth, easy-to-understand process is what she does best. So let attorney Susan J. Kim step in. To schedule your legal consultation today, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com or call 847-906-3166. Susan J. Kim Attorney at Law is a state of Illinois licensed real estate attorney.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Find great hires fast with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
5:38, quick update on the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of Salem Surround, your local digital marketing agency. Go to surroundchicago.com today. Traffic appears to be fairly normal. Start to the holiday looks good on the Edens, Kennedy, Ike, and Stevenson. No problems to report as you roll. However, Grant Park closures do remain on Congress, Columbus, Monroe, Congress Parkway, Ida B. Wells, if you will, Michigan Avenue, that whole trackside area still completely closed down, by the way, through the end of July 4 until they get everything out of your way. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast, sunny and pleasant for cleaning out your basement. High 87. Clear and humid, 68 overnight. I feel your pain. Mine too. Hot and humid, sunshine and clouds tomorrow. High 92. Currently 64. Your next news update at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We spent a lot of time on Friday with Carlos Thomas discussing the Supreme Court's decision in the Harvard and North Carolina admissions case, effectively ending affirmative action with respect to college admissions. So the other two decisions that came down on Friday of also significant import, the socialization of student debt case, Nebraska v. Biden, student debt forgiveness, and the 303 Creative case, the religious liberty case. Let's start with the student debt, which, as expected, the Supreme Court struck down Biden's unilateral gambit, exceeding his executive authority, to wash away debt of up to $25,000 for those who make less than $125,000. $20,000. Cancel debt up to $20,000 for those who make $125,000 or less. 6-3 decision, again, basically party lines, if you will. Here's Biden responding to the decision in an exchange with Fox News' Jackie Heinrich.
Mr. President, why did you give millions of borrowers false hope? You've doubted your own authority here in the past.
I didn't give any false hope. The question was whether or not I would do even more than was requested. What I did, I thought was appropriate and was able to be done and would get done. I didn't give borrowers false hope, but the Republicans snatched away the hope that they were given, and it's real hope. Thank you.
Mr. President, will you cancel
your authority? Did you overstep your authority?
I think the court misinterpreted the Constitution.
Yeah. So did Nancy Pelosi when in July of 2021 she said the president couldn't unilaterally forgive loans.
Yeah, but nobody was listening. I mean, he did that to bring lethargic Democrats to the polls. They said, we'll pay off, student loan forgiveness. And I loved it because I know a teacher who was so excited, Dan, that she didn't have to pay off her student loan. She planned a big trip to Hawaii this summer, was so excited. I told her, well, cool your heels. It's not done yet. And then, obviously I think the right thing happened. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also reach us on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Remember what he did here. He did this under supposed authority, since he's opining on the constitutionality of what he did. The supposed authority granted the president under the 2003 Higher Education Relief Opportunities for Students Act, which allowed the education secretary to waive or modify student financial aid provisions if he deems it necessary in connection with a war or other military operation or national emergency. So he used the backdrop of COVID to try to shoehorn that into a national emergency such that he could forgive loan repayments altogether at the thresholds I mentioned, $20,000 for those making $125,000 or less. And as Justice Roberts opined in the majority opinion, responding to what you've heard probably over the weekend from the left, this is Congress, or this is the court acting as Congress. This is the court usurping the authority of the executive, of the legislative. In fact, as Roberts wrote, the dissent is correct. This is a case about one branch of government arrogating to itself power belonging to another, but it is the executive seizing the power of the legislature. Of course it is. It's so obvious. You have an executive claiming he can spend $430 billion without Congress's approval. And there's just no basis for it.
I mean, there has been a 3-year pause on paying back student loans, and they keep pushing it back now. It's October. People have to start paying their student loans again. All because of COVID? Can we stop this nonsense finally?
By the way, for all of those on Authoritarian Watch on the left, everybody who disagrees with me is an authoritarian, you know, that crowd.
Mm-hmm.
You might remind them, and I know they'll just dismiss this as, the conservative court. Well, vaccine mandate, rent eviction moratorium, the Clean Power Plan, now the student debt forgiveness. All of these overreaches by this executive, that would be Mr. 10%, the big guy, struck down by the court. So, who is flirting with one-man rule, as it were, authoritarianism, everything runs through the head of state? Who's really flirting with that for all the time spent hand-wringing over President Trump? Pat in Lockport, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Dan and Amy. Yeah, just a couple of things. With these Supreme Court decisions over last week, I was really doing my happy dance. But regarding the, honest to God, it's about time. If you're talking about a national emergency, there's 2 words, Joe Biden. That's number one. And as far as not paying your loan back, if you are in college or a graduate thereof, and you haven't figured out the difference between a grant and a loan, you kind of put your education down the toilet and you're still coming out a dumbass. What more can I tell you?
Thanks for the call, Pat.
Are you crazy?
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I think the definitive comment on this that I saw over the weekend came from MMA middleweight Sean Strickland. Yeah. Sean Strickland was asked by the press corps that covers the UFC, Ultimate Fighting,
about student loan,
about SCOTUS decisions, and he went off in no uncertain terms. This was pretty good stuff. Noted legal scholar / MMA middleweight Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
About the Supreme Court decisions this week, the 2.
I know the Asian and then the student loans, right? Yeah, bro, I love America, guys. It's fucking bullshit. Listen, you guys, I'm a white trash motherfucker. So, you got these Asian dudes, man. They're got docs and lawyers. They got a leg up on me. But again, America is fucking equal opportunity. If you could fucking do it, fucking do it, man. Bottom line, dude. I'm really happy for the Asian community, man. If you guys work your ass off, you got good parents. And that's to go full circle. You see that Asian community of like, you have a mom in the house raising their kids. That is what America was. But you let these corporations fucking weasel their way to put the Amazon on your phone. And we have just made this consumer America, bro. It is a damn shame that you have foreigners coming to this country and they show more of the American spirit and values than Americans do.
When are you going to run?
Man, I've way too much history, way too much in my past. And then the student loans, man. Fucking hey, it's bad that. Man, I was fucking homeschooled my whole life. I mean, I always say I dropped out of high school, but I don't even know if I could call it high school. No, you get your loans, bro. You fucking pay for it. Yep. No one ever gave me fucking forgiveness. So yeah, I'm happy the Supreme Court, man. We got a good roster on that Supreme Court, dude. All we need now is some national reciprocity, and we'll be set.
I'm impressed that you paid attention to what was going on in the world while you're in the UFC bubble.
Well, man, here's the thing, guys. We don't do all day. What do you think UFC fighters do? Like, we don't have a job. We train for a few hours a day, and we just sit there with our in our hand. You guys, why do you think I'm fucking tan? I got shit to do all day long. So, yeah, I just sit on the interwebs reading conspiracies about COVID and shit, you know?
Oh, my gosh.
Congratulations.
Anti-vaxxer, by the way. I'm not saying vaccines are bad, but, you know, you try to force me to tell me to get a fucking shove a needle in my ass to leave the country. Fuck you guys. Continue. Are we all good?
Baxter fight.
Wow.
Close enough. It's interesting. I didn't know how much MMA fighters had in common with radio talk show hosts either, because I'm the same way. How do I keep track of all this stuff? What, I work a couple hours a day, then I'm sitting around with my joint in my hand the rest of the day, reading conspiracy theories on Twitter.
Sitting around with a club in your hand. That's what you're doing.
Mike on the south side.
Morning, Dan. Welcome back, Amy. It's good to have you back.
Thanks.
I was pretty stoked that the Supreme Court got it right on Thursday and Friday, but there's one part that kind of sobers me. You realize that the three dissenting justices, Jackson, Kagan, and Sotomayor, will eventually become part of they'll become part of a new left-wing majority on the Supreme Court eventually. That makes me nervous because these three really don't get it.
Well,
thank you.
Well, yeah, thanks for the call, Michael. I mean, well, not that they'll eventually become part of a leftist majority. Let's hope not, that nothing is inevitable about that. But should you be concerned by the quality of the reasoning you heard from KBJ in particular? Sotomayor, I mean, she's, we know her deal.
She's never going to be a centrist.
Well, she started out with the wise Latina business. I mean, she's, she was drinking the identitarian Kool-Aid going way back. And so was Ketanji Brown Jackson, clearly. So for anybody who thought that somebody who doesn't know what a woman is was going to be some renegade and break from the movement that begot her, no. No. By the way, in that case, the Harvard admissions case, Babylon Bee had a good story on that.
What was it?
We talked a little bit on Friday about workarounds. There's
going to be,
you have to win the battle culturally, not just legally. Harvard to get around affirmative action ban by asking you whether you prefer barbecue, ranch, or soy sauce. Yeah, that's a good way to figure out who you're talking about with respect to the applicator, the applicant, I should say, the applicator. Thinking more about what Sean Strickland was saying.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Are you a business owner with a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, and a plan for growth, but you just need the right bank? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that Signature Bank is all about going the distance for commercial banking customers. It's what Signature Bank does every day. Their team understands that accessibility is key to their culture. In times like these, you want a bank that is there for you to weather the bad times and capitalize on the good. And with Signature Bank by your side, you can't go wrong. It's a true partnership. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. I believe in what they have to offer, from innovative tech and customized solutions to help your business grow and thrive. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You know when you start up a motorcycle and you hear it go vroom, vroom, vroom when it takes off? I was losing that. I was losing my energy. I started using Balance of Nature about 1.5 years ago. Noticed the results immediately, and I went, oh my gosh, this works. This is what I've been missing all my life. I missed my Vava Voom. I got it back.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Retirement planning can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Tune in to Retirement and Income Radio, hosted by well-known Chicagoland financial educator Mark Kohler. Mark helps listeners in or near retirement protect their savings from market volatility while creating lifetime guaranteed income. Listen to Retirement and Income Radio Sunday afternoons at 3:30 on AM 560 The Answer, or call Mark now at 844-619-SAFE.
Well, they dropped it down the stairs and then they tumbled off their truck. But when they fell out in the street, I knew I was out of luck. I got the crash, bang, boom. Should have had it in the Starcase Blue. Yeah. If you don't want to lose it, put yours in the Starcase too.
Yes, Starcase has designed custom reusable shipping cases for everything from irreplaceable trophies to mission-critical scientific equipment. Cases that can take the crash, bang, boom waiting for it when it leaves your dock. Let us build you a case specially designed to protect your stuff. Go to starcase.com or call 800-822-STAR. That's 800-822-7827.
This is Mike Gallagher. Sign up today for an unforgettable experience in Israel this October. Dennis Prager and I are traveling to the Holy Land on the Stand With Israel tour with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. This is a trip of a lifetime. You don't want to miss it. Register today before it's too late. Visit standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com, or call 855-565-5519, 855-565-5519. And together, let's stand with Israel.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. For over 185 years, families have trusted Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, with 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties, to set their legacies in stone. A prepaid cemetery plan locks in today's prices and safeguards against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy will be talking more about the SCOTUS decisions at the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour with G-Town law professor, that's Georgetown to you, Randy Barnett.
You're so street.
Yeah, very.
G-Town, okay.
AOC was on with Dana Bash on State of the Union over the weekend. We watched it so you didn't have to. And this is, she was, of course, distraught.
Oh, I'm sure she's out of her mind.
Distraught with, particularly with respect to the decisions at the collegiate level, admissions and student loans. And, she was doing some saber rattling about what we're going to need to do to rein in that runaway Supreme Court.
They are expanding their role
into acting as though they are Congress itself. And that, I believe, is an expansion of power that we really must be focusing on. The danger of this court and the abuse of power in this court, particularly as it is related to the entanglements around conflicts of interest as well.
And
she didn't stop there, did she?
Impeachment's on the table.
Yeah, right.
Don't know if assassination is, get some of her friends to plot against Supreme Court justices, like the guy who plotted against Kavanaugh. Don't know. She didn't go quite that far yet.
First, we have a Senate Judiciary Committee that is beginning the process of investigating the entanglements and conflicts of interest. Just 1 to 2 weeks before the student loan ruling, the country learned that Justice Samuel Alito was accepting gifts from billionaires who were lobbying against Supreme Court that were lobbying before the Supreme Court against student loan forgiveness. Just weeks before, we learned that he was accepting gifts from them and travel and vacations from them before he decided to vote and rule in their favor. And so I believe that if Chief Justice Roberts will not come before Congress for an investigation voluntarily, I believe that we should be considering subpoenas. We should be considering investigations. We must pass much more binding and stringent ethics guidelines where we see members of the Supreme Court potentially breaking the law, as we saw in the refusal, with Clarence Thomas to recuse himself from cases implicating his wife in January 6th. There also must be impeachment on the table.
Just blathering on like the dope that she is. But the takeaway is not the specifics from her carrying on. The takeaway is what you'll see going forward. For all their talk about, we're undermining our institutions, and that's a threat to our democracy. Right, except when they do it. And you're going to see the attacks on Alito and Thomas and Gorsuch ratcheted up in the coming weeks and months in advance of 2024. You can bet on that.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Jason Smith, chairman of House Ways and Means, has 12 people he wants to interview at 6:06.
It's now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Baltimore's mayor vows to find the gunman. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The ones who shot up a block party early yesterday.
This was a reckless, cowardly act of violence that has taken 2 lives and altered many, many more.
Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott says 30 people were shot.
Most of them were teens, many of them children. 18-year-old Alaya Gonzalez and 20-year-old Kailas Fagbemi were killed in that incident. Police are still searching for potentially multiple shooters who they say opened fire using their weapons on an informal gathering in the Brooklyn Homes section of the city.
As Fox's Alexandria Hoff, there were more fires set. There was more vandalism across France, but the 6th night of protests over a deadly police shooting not as intense. Still, there were 157 arrests. Israel is on the attack in the West Bank, where at least 5 Palestinians are reported dead.
Drones struck an alleged militant stronghold. Hundreds of troops were deployed. Gunfire echoed across Jenin. The incursion was centered on the Jenin refugee camp, the site, Israel claims, of a building used by militants for planning attacks. Around 2,000 soldiers took part in an operation we're told was to destroy and confiscate weapons.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. The U.S. has issued an advisory for Americans thinking about traveling to China, urging them to reconsider, warning that U.S. citizens risk being wrongfully detained without information or access to American consular services. The day before the 4th of July, airports could be busy again, but there are only about 80 flights canceled. Last week, there were thousands canceled, tens of thousands delayed. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg tells CBS Face the Nation.
We had a hard few days with severe weather at the beginning of the week, and that definitely put enormous pressure on the system.
Airlines have also blamed air traffic control staff shortages. Friday was a record travel day at airports. America's listening.
Skies are clear this morning. We have 64 degrees. 6:02 is our time on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Another violent, long holiday weekend has Chicago investigating 5 fatally shot, 3 alone on Friday night. Chicago firefighter is recovering, severely hurt in a blaze in the city's Austin neighborhood. Crews responded to that blaze in the 1200 block of North Laverne early yesterday morning. Reports are the injured firefighter was taken to West Suburban Medical Center and later transferred to a nearby critical care center. The Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Chicago took some measures to try and alleviate flooding after heavy weekend rains. City officials announcing they've allowed water from the Chicago River to flow into Lake Michigan. The move comes after up to 6 inches of rain pounded the area. Many parts of the suburbs saw more than that, where some of the worst flooding took place. Governor J.B. Pritzker's office announced the bulk bill signing of more than 150 bills. Separately, he announced he also signed House Bill 3882, which allows non-citizens to get a standard driver's license. Governor Pritzker saying the step eliminates barriers to opportunity. It was backed by Illinois Secretary of State Alexei Giannoulias.
Illinois embraces immigrants who are in search of the American dream. And I see people across the state who represent the very best of America.
However, the bill only passed along partisan lines. Republican State Senator Steve McClure says partisan bills are only the norm at the Democrat-controlled Illinois State House.
We have a supermajority who's extremely arrogant, whose only concern is press release. I'm concerned about policies. He should be much more concerned about our policies than his press release.
More information on the accidental death of a man at Chicago's NASCAR street race. It happened on Friday. 53-year-old Dwayne Tabinski was found slumped over near the Buckingham Fountain. The cause of death has now been ruled an electrocution. White Sox 8-7 winners over the A's in Oakland, while the Cubs lost to the Guardians 8-6 at Wrigley. In other team news, Sox center fielder Luis Robert was named to the AL All-Star roster, while Justin Steele, Dansby Swanson, and Marcus Stroman of the Cubs were named to the NL All-Star roster. The news, a service of MyPillow. Big news, brand new MyPillow 2.0. Now, buy one, get one free with promo code LIBERTY. Visit MyPillow.com and use that promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees something off.
What they are really against is the notion within the West that there should be economic growth. One should learn to enjoy life with economic shrinking. The idea that we want the economy to grow is a bad idea. These are sick people. Every leftist is sick.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Hi, I'm Randy Donnelly.
And I'm Susan from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois.
We're the hosts of the Donnelly Auctions Hour every Saturday at 1 p.m. here on AM 560.
There is no show like it in the Chicagoland area.
We talk about antiques of all kinds.
And we can help you sell your antiques.
We have great items and the buyers for every collection.
To find out more, go to DonnellyAuctions.com and listen Saturdays at 1 p.m. for the Donnelly Auctions Hour, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Retirement planning can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Tune in to Retirement and Income Radio, hosted by well-known Chicagoland financial educator Mark Kohler. Mark helps listeners in or near retirement protect their savings from market volatility while creating lifetime guaranteed income. Listen to Retirement and Income Radio Sunday afternoons at 3:30 on AM 560 The Answer, or call Mark now at 844-619-SAFE.
It is 6:07. Let's get an update on the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Inbound Stevenson, report of a bicyclist on the roadway, actually on the left shoulder. Inbound just after LaGrange Road, no kidding, drive with care. I-57, rollover crash reported northbound right before Manhattan-Moni Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Mostly sunny, rather pleasant today. The high up to 87. Clear and humid tonight, low 68. Sun and clouds, hot and humid for tomorrow. The high Independence Day, 92. Strong thunderstorms Wednesday, the high 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
64 O'Hare, 63 Lakefront, 64 Midway, 62 in Naperville. Your Lake Michigan water temperature is 65. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Representative Ro Khanna from California, who likes to position himself as some sort of reasonable moderate. He's not. He's sort of a dressed up spokesman for the hard left in the House. He was on this week, and he was asked about the IRS whistleblower's testimony and the contradiction between what the IRS whistleblower had to say about the authority that U.S. Attorney from Delaware, David Weiss, had to pursue a case against Hunter Biden, and what Attorney General Merrick Garland had to say about it. Well, here's what Ro Khanna had to say about it.
But, sir, what the whistleblower is saying is that Weiss, who was appointed by Trump, said that he was not the deciding official on this case. If that turns out to be true, doesn't that directly contradict what the Attorney General has said?
But Weiss is not saying that. Isn't the source Weiss? I mean, if Weiss was saying that, I would have a concern.
Great. Representative Ro Khanna, Weiss is saying that now. Quoting from testimony he provided to House Committee. As the U.S. Attorney for the District of Delaware, my charging authority is geographically limited to my home district. If venue for a case lies elsewhere, common departmental practice is to contact the U.S. Attorney's Office for the district in question and determine whether it wants to partner on the case. If not, I may request special attorney status from the Attorney General. Here I have been assured that if necessary after the above process, I would be granted authority in the District of Columbia, the Central District of California, or any other district where charges could be brought in the matter. But he wasn't. So doesn't that by definition mean that he was not the ultimate authority? And if you can follow that logic, which is pretty straightforward, then doesn't it mean that House Republicans should be moving articles of impeachment against Merrick Garland post-haste? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I was assured that if necessary after the above process of seeking to partner with other U.S. attorneys in other jurisdictions, I have been assured if necessary after that process, I would be granted authority in D.C. and the Central District of California or any other district where charges could be brought in this matter. He's talking about the Hunter Biden matter. He attempted so says the whistleblower, to bring charges in those jurisdictions. He was denied, and he wasn't given special counsel status. Does it need to be any more straightforward than that? Jason Smith was on Fox News Sunday. He's chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. And they've got this lined up now. They have 12 people that they've identified that they want to talk to in connection with this now notorious October 7th meeting that Gary Shapley, the IRS whistleblower, talked about in testimony before Congress, as well as in testimony before Brett Baier last week. Here's Jason Smith explaining House Republicans' position on Fox News Sunday.
And what we have to follow is information from everyone who was present at that October 7th meeting that the whistleblower said that the prosecutor in Delaware said that, you know, he couldn't bring charges, especially in Washington, D.C., and that he was declined. He tried to bring charges in California and was declined. He asked for a special counsel, and he was declined. Yet the Attorney General of the United States has said in Senate testimony, in fact, that the prosecutor there in Delaware had complete independence. But that's why we're asking for 12 people. That's why eight individuals from the Department of Justice, 2 from the IRS, and 2 from the FBI, that we need to have them come in for testimony.
Are you going to get them?
We better. We've made it clear. Jim Jordan, Jamie Comer, and myself will use every tool that we have to make sure that they're held to that standard. I hope that they just voluntarily come in. I would think that that would be the right thing to do. But if we have to find other measures, we'll get the information.
Well, let's give them a chance to work it out. The things are progressing rather quickly now. I mean, in D.C. time, so relatively speaking. And one wonders how long the big guy can hang on. The talk is starting to get ratcheted up about a late substitute for Joe Biden as the nominee in 2024. We'll see. Interesting piece from Holman Jenkins over the weekend in the Journal. Trump is saving Biden from the Hunter laptop scandal. It's sort of the standard issue codependency argument you've heard before. Trump's candidacy perhaps doesn't exist without Biden. Biden's candidacy certainly doesn't exist without Trump. If Joe Biden is to be sidelined, Holman Jenkins writes, it will be because Joe Biden has ceased to be a compelling antidote to Donald Trump and the supposed chaos and corruption of Trumpism. Joe Biden's political career may already be over and he doesn't know it, but it won't be because of Hunter. It will be sort of indirectly because of that, among other things, mental acuity, other things, because he has ceased to be a compelling antidote to Donald Trump. And Jenkins goes on to suggest that that Mr. Biden is shakier than it seems and perhaps ceases to exist without Mr. Trump. Indeed, Mr. Trump could provoke panic in the Biden camp tomorrow by dropping out, but don't hold your breath. Codependency is you-know-what, especially for the American people, yet that's what they get from the problematic duo of Trump and Biden. You know, it's interesting because I think Holman Jenkins is sort of looking at this the wrong way, and I think a lot of commentators are. If Trump dropped out, Biden would be gone tomorrow. Well, there's so much focus on how the left wants Trump to be the nominee, and there's not nearly as much focus on how the right wants Joe Biden to be the nominee. I want Joe Biden to be the nominee. Do I think that Gavin Newsom is indomitable? No. Is he beatable if he were a late replacement for Joe Biden? Sure he is. Is that the best matchup for the Republican Party? I don't think so. So you have to look at this from both angles. You know, if we're so focused on the Democrats picking our nominee and so on and so forth, and you hear this a lot from those who don't want to see Trump renominated. What about the flip side? What about Trump as a nominee that protects Biden as their nominee, and that's the nominee we want? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Joe in Hoffman Estates.
Good morning, guys. I heard us working too in radio. Happy 4th of July coming up here. I was wondering what your opinion is on the Democrats flipping on Biden eventually and going forward with as much stuff as they can throw at him to get rid of him. This way they can get someone else in there that they think has a better shot of winning.
Well, yeah, I know. Thanks for the call, Joe. This is the scuttlebutt, and as I say, you're hearing more of it. It's possible. It's possible. You certainly have Gavin Newsom warming up in the bullpen, waiting for the call. There's no question about that.
I mean, he went on Fox News with Sean Hannity, gave an extensive interview, to try and look more reasonable and more moderate, whatever that means. But, I mean, it's a real question. Biden's 80 years old right now. He will be 86. Hypothetically, he'd be that at the end of his second term. 86 years old? You want him in charge? The age fine, but he's out of his mind right now.
Who's the you?
No,
do you want him in charge? Who's the you?
I'm asking Democrats. You really want Biden? There's no excitement for him.
Do you think the issue is completely one of political viability? And do you think they care about his mental acuity? Do you think they care about this influence peddling operation at minimum? I'm not even sure they care if he got bribed by enemies of the state. Like Ukrainian oligarchs or Chinese communists. I'm not even sure that would bother them. The only thing that bothers them is he viable? Can he beat Trump? And does he ensure that we have Trump rather than DeSantis? So the codependency is a little bit more complicated than just looking at Trump versus Biden. You also have to look at the alternatives. And the left is probably less inclined for a DeSantis, and the right is probably less inclined for a Newsom. So you have that secondary dynamic of we want Biden and they want Trump. Right? Bob, Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and welcome back, Amy. Missed hearing you. Question for you. Why is the media seem to be focused on all the challengers to Trump that have virtually no chance, but the challengers to Biden, like Kennedy...
Because Kennedy has no chance. That's why they're not focused on him. He has zero chance. It's ridiculous. And by the way, for Republicans who are fascinated by RFK Jr. because of his guns and his marriage to Cheryl Hines and because he says a couple of things that are right about COVID. He's a climate goon. He's like way over the top on junk science and what to do about it. What he's decrying about COVID, he would do under the guise of saving the planet, number one. Number two, he came out against the Supreme Court decision in the college admissions affirmative action case. He's anti-2A. Scratch below the surface. Hey, fine. He's a blunt instrument against Biden, and he can create some havoc on the other side. I'm all for it. But let's not spend a lot of time pretending that he's a person of particular interest or he's some kind of newfangled Democrat. He's not. It's weird. With respect to those erstwhile competitors against Trump, starting with DeSantis, well, let me ask you this. If Biden was gone and it was Newsom, do you think that would reshuffle the deck and perhaps get some Trump supporters to say, well, if they're going to make a generational shift, we probably should too? I'm asking. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Tom in Blue Island.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. And Dan, I'm going to qualify this by, as I brought this up to you a couple times, I'm desperate for a Trump DeSantis ticket. But that aside, I mentioned the last time this argument that, and I understand the rationale, that the Democrats want Trump as the candidate because he is the easiest one to defeat. Well, I would submit to you he's the only one that can win. And it appears to me that if this effort continues, and I believe their effort is to take Trump off the chessboard, because by taking Trump off the chessboard, you're taking a significant percentage, who knows how many, 20, 30, 40% of Trump voters that aren't going to vote. And that dooms DeSantis. And I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Thanks for the call, Tom. They don't take him off the chessboard with indictments, and he doesn't go to trial before next year's election if he has at all competent legal representation, because why would you want to risk conviction anywhere before the election? Let this all hang and be adjudicated after the election. Not to mention, if he's reelected, then he's in a pretty strong position to make most of this go away. And if he's not reelected, then they're probably going to push to put him in prison to end this ignominious period of Trumpism in their view. So I don't think they're trying to take him off the chessboard. And if they did take him off the chessboard, they would be doing DeSantis a huge favor, because there wouldn't be the ugliness of a primary campaign. Hey, look, DeSantis, it's terrible what they've done. If I'm elected, I mean, I assume he would like Vivek Ramaswamy the situation. If elected, I will pardon him. And then DeSantis can, look, you have to elect me to get to the other side so we can set this right on behalf of Trump and the entire Republican Party. That's a moment where somebody like a DeSantis could actually unify the party if they took Trump off the chessboard, as you say. So why would they do that? Much better to have the perceived chaos and the arguments going on and the sniping back and forth between Trump and DeSantis while he's running a presidential campaign essentially against the Department of Justice. Chris and Carrie, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, I've had this exact conversation with three of my friends who are pretty far left. They don't care about any of the baggage that Biden brings with him. They just want Trump out. They're so desperate to not have Trump be president. They don't care. They just vote Biden to no end. It's shocking.
Thanks for the call, Chris.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Ever notice how most people never leave online reviews unless they're really mad? And they want the entire world to know how bad their experience was. Rick from Forever Remodeling here, and we average 4.8 stars on 144 Google reviews. I know what you're thinking. Sure, 132 people gave you 5 stars, but what about those 12 who didn't? Glad you asked. 3 of them are 1-star reviews from people we never even did business with. Most of the rest are 4-star reviews from people who loved us and said things like, "We are thrilled and would recommend Forever Remodeling to anyone." So why only 4 stars? One customer sums it up, "I only gave 4 stars because I never give 5. Fair enough, I guess. Google foreverremodeling.com and see for yourself. The reviews are all right there. We do kitchens, baths, basements, whole homes, and additions. Check us out at foreverremodeling.com or call 847-809-3355. That's foreverremodeling.com.
All right, can you even name 31 different fruits and vegetables? Well, that's what's in Balance of Nature. They take the fruits and veggies and they transform them. They put them through this powdered process to advanced vacuum cold process, I should say, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. Real food, real science, real nutrition. And people who take it say they have increased energy, ability to keep doing the things that they love. So get your health back. Be proactive. Take Balance of Nature. 6 capsules a day. That's what I take. And I love it. So get the nutrition your body needs, because good nutrition is the foundation of all aspects of health. The number to call, 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Be sure to use discount code Chicago, or simply go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
It's a big deal because your finances are a really big deal. Wintrust Community Banks would like to announce our newest and greatest 11-month CD rate with a whopping 5.35% APY. Act now and you can lock in 5.35%. Just go to wintrust.com/locknewrates and start earning more. Annual percentage yield accurate as of May 5th, 2023 and assumes funds remain on deposit until maturity. Minimum daily balance of 1 cent required to obtain APY. $1,000 minimum to open. New money only. Offer may change at any time and without notice. Member FDIC.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. For over 185 years, families have trusted Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago with 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties to set their legacies in stone. A prepaid cemetery plan locks in today's prices and safeguards against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
As you walk around the yard this spring, you'll likely see some cracked or sunken concrete. Maybe a sidewalk, stoop, driveway, or patio. These problems will only get worse, but there is an easy solution. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer with Permaseal. Our poly-level process can raise and level sunken concrete quickly and effectively, putting an end to eyesores and dangerous trip hazards. Poly-level is the quickest, least expensive, and most durable system to repair your sunken concrete problems. So don't live with a problem that will only get worse. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL for a free estimate. Permaseal has been helping Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana homeowners making their homes healthier and more valuable for over 40 years and has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't replace it, raise it. Call 800-421-7325 or visit permaseal.net.
Known best for being better, Permaseal.
Summer's here. Time to fire up the grill and raise your new custom motorized shades from Blinds.com right now. Save 40% site-wide plus doorbuster deals at their spectacular 4th of July sale. Blinds.com has everything you need from Roman and roller shades to shutters, curtains, and more. They even have outdoor shades to make your deck or patio the coolest place to be for summer hangouts and backyard barbecues. Need help with measuring and installation? They can help you with that too. And with Blinds.com, there's no need for an in-home consultation just to get a quote. That's because you always get upfront pricing on their website. I have Blinds.com shades all over my home. They're superb. Plus, there's no stress. Everything is covered with Blinds.com's 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com's 4th of July sale happening now through July 5th and save 40% site-wide plus doorbusters. Get 40% off at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, it's coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
In our latest installment of Sports and Politics, a bizarre installment. It will be Zuck and Musk at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
6:36.
Who do you want to win? But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
64 degrees at 6:30 on AM 560. The Answer. 11 are injured following a shooting at a Wichita, Kansas nightclub. Police say the shooting took place early Sunday morning. 9 of the victims were shot. 2 others were trampled. Baltimore police are looking for several possible suspects, all part of a shooting that killed 2 and wounded 28 at a Baltimore neighborhood block party.
We know for sure there is definitely more than one. We don't know exactly how many, but we do know more than one person was shooting.
Acting Baltimore Police Commissioner Richard Worley confirming an 18-year-old female and 20-year-old male were killed. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says he's supporting the Supreme Court's decision allowing a Christian web designer to refuse to create a same-sex wedding website.
The government doesn't have the right to tell a business the nature of how they need to use their expressive abilities.
Appearing on CNN's State of the Union, the GOP presidential hopeful also said the ruling is not discriminatory because it doesn't prohibit those who identify as LGBTQ to access a business. Popular roller coaster at a North Carolina amusement park has been shut down after a large crack was discovered in a major steel support beam.
I was thinking, this is crazy. And I just happened to see that crack. I'm like, I can see light through it. And I'm not an engineer, but that's not That's not good.
Officials at the Carowinds theme park in Charlotte made the announcement regarding the Fury attraction. Another violent night in Chicago, all part of a holiday weekend that saw as many as 30 people shot and 5 of them fatally. Chicago firefighter recovering after he was injured during a blaze in the city's Austin neighborhood. That injured firefighter was taken to West Suburban Medical Center in serious condition, later transported to a critical care center. Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Chicago took some measures to try and alleviate flooding in the city after heavy weekend rains. Officials announcing they allowed water from the Chicago River to flow back into Lake Michigan. The move comes after up to 6 inches of rain fell over the past 2 days, up to 8 inches in the suburbs, where some of the worst flooding took place. Rain nearly washed out NASCAR's first ever Chicago street race on Sunday, pushing back the start to 5:30 p.m. Shane Von Gisbergen won the Grant Park race in his first career Cup Series start in NASCAR's inaugural street race. White Sox held off a late rally in an 8-7 win over the A's in Oakland, while the Cubs were unable to capitalize on a 4-run ninth inning in an 8-6 10-inning loss to the Guardians. Bulls bring back some backcourt depth, agreeing to a 3-year, $20 million deal with guard Javon Carter over the weekend, while the Blackhawks signed a 2-year deal with veteran forward Ryan Donato. The news service of Blindster.com. They can help you save big on custom faux wood blind shutters, cellular shades, and more. Shop Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick and mortar stores. Blindster.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher explains Trump's surge.
Sunday morning shows yesterday, they're all in various levels of hysteria over Trump. They cannot figure out why he keeps surging in popularity. They don't even understand it. Newsflash, Americans are rejecting the politically motivated prosecution that he's undergoing.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I got to where I was sleeping in and I didn't like that. Within 2 or 3 days, I could tell the difference. Now I'm back to getting up early. I had more energy. I slept better at night. And in my therapy, I'm improving because I've got more energy. I truly believe in these things. I just know how I feel, and I tell everybody I can.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-950-0099. 800-950-0099. That's 800-950-0099.
It is 6:36. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Right now, I-80 has a bad accident westbound at LaGrange Road. 2 left lanes are blocked with an overturned vehicle. Stevenson, an accident reported on the right-hand shoulder. Right now it's outbound at the Des Plaines River Bridge. 23 minutes outbound to I-355 this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Mostly sunny and pleasant today. Warmer, begin the big dry out, high 87. Clear and humid, low 68 overnight. Hot and humid tomorrow, 92. Currently, 65 at O'Hare, 63 Lakefront, 62 in Naperville. And your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance, arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Dan and Amy, on this installment, the prospect of a UFC fight between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and the Italian Minister of Culture saying that they have been in contact with Zuck and Musk and want to offer the Roman Colosseum as the venue for this cage match between these two pasty honkies. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Would you pay-per-view Musk versus Zuck?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, I wouldn't pay a lot. I'd try to suck off of one of my friends or go to a bar. But, well, first of all, are there egos? I don't know if the Rome Coliseum's big enough for their egos to fit through. But, yeah, I would do it. I mean, are they going to raise money for charity, though? Or what?
Yeah, ostensibly.
Obviously.
Dana White, the president of UFC, said that both the two are deadly serious about this rumored cage match. And he's been negotiating details with both fighters multiple times each day for more than a week, said Dana White. They both want to do it. This would be the biggest fight ever in the history of the world, bigger than anything that's ever been done. It would break all pay-per-view records. These guys would raise hundreds of millions of dollars for charity. You don't have to be a fighting fan to be interested in this fight. Everybody would want to see it. Now, the tail of the tape here is Zuckerberg is, like, how was he, like 4 feet tall, and he's 145 pounds. But he does.
But he looks he looks built. I mean,
Yeah.
He looks like he works out.
Yeah. Supposedly Taekwondo.
That's right.
And Musk is, 6 foot, 230 pounds. Not in great shape. So a bit of a mismatch. That's the tail of the tape. Cage match.
Well, who do you think? Who do you think would win?
Who cares?
Two win or one's going to leave, and I'm just wondering who the one.
Yeah. Okay, Michael Buffer. So here's the thing. What is happening to sports? Especially fighting. I mean, UFC, I guess, with the actual this like Floyd Mayweather embarrassing himself by fighting John Gotti's grandson after he fought Jake Paul. It's just. I get it. This is not the first instance of fighters hanging on and doing silly things to get paydays and to stay in the public eye and so forth. But and now this. I mean, you really want to see a slap fight between Musk and Zuck? I mean, you might as well just put them in those big sumo costumes and just have them bounce around for a while, or go back to do like an American Gladiators. Have them run through 5 or 6 stages, do the joust and do the Atlas ball and do an obstacle course, and then just call it a day. Honestly, you want to see what kind of stamina these two have?
Well, I think Zuckerberg would kick Elon Musk's butt. I do, but I mean
Size advantage is
But also
significant.
too, don't go to Italy, don't go to the Coliseum. Just keep it in Vegas. They should do it in Vegas. In America. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also contact us through our text line 64636. Type in DA and then a quick comment.
Why don't they do like a battle royale if we're going to do like some sort of like WWE cage match? Just like get a bunch of people in there. I don't know, Joy Reid versus Laura Ingraham. I mean, it's just like it's a melee. It's just, so whoever emerges, men, women, everybody on all the cable news desks, the punditocracy. Let's get some of these politicians in there. I mean, sure, you probably see some hips broken and so on and so forth. But that, if it's for charity, and I mean, if we're going to do a spectacle based on politics, which is what this is. I mean, this is what their fight is. This was the basis of their fight, right? The political differences of opinion, political and philosophical differences of opinion. Weenies. Glenn and Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I think we should have a sumo wrestling match between Chris Christie and J.B. Pritzker with Sean Thompson doing the play-by-play.
That's not bad.
Boy.
Thanks for the call, Glenn.
Got a text message. What if a cage match between Biden and Trump? Didn't Biden offer wanting to take on Trump?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
About
That would
Biden reprises.
Trump would destroy Biden.
Reprises his fight against Corn Pop. Yeah, yeah, right. You're gonna have two 80-year-olds. This is what I'm talking about. What is this? It's so odd. What
I know,
fascinates
because this
people.
came out last week, and we both looked at each other like, what? They're not going to fight each other, but I think they're really going to do it.
I mean, if they do it and there's no Total Sports Network to cover it, did it really happen? I guess it will on pay-per-view. This is some good news. I saw this, was happy about this over the weekend. For the most part, there's some of the people on the cut list that I think are okay, but it's more about Disney and ESPN continuing to hemorrhage this idea that everything is all right over there. Disney's not just losing, hundreds of millions of dollars in their movie releases. They're losing a lot of money as people cut the cord and that cable bundle breaks up and the audience, the subscriber base of ESPN shrinks, and that's what's happening. 20 on-air stars were ash canned from ESPN, and some you'll really enjoy. Although, I got to say, Susie Colbert, Joe Namath is not going to be happy about
Oh, no. You got to. Oh, who's Joe Namath? Remember when we asked Justin to get the soundbite of Joe Namath talking
Joe
to Susie?
Namath.
Yeah.
Joe
and,
Namath.
and Justin said, "Who is that?"
Joe Namath.
Do you have that soundbite, or is it? He plays football for the Jets, right?
Susie Colbert, Jalen Rose. Bye, Jalen. Keyshawn, Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is a douche.
I don't know.
I can't. But these guys, the number these guys make are. Max Kellerman was reportedly making $5 million a year.
What?
It's almost as much as Juan Williams. Don't get me started. Let's see here. Susie Colbert, I liked. LaFonso Ellis. I like LaFonso Ellis. Okay. Hasselback, Steve Young, gone.
Wow.
NFL draft expert Todd McShay, college game day analyst David Pollack. Yeah. All these people gone. Oh, Jeff Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy's intolerable. Jeff's okay. I don't know which Van Gundy you like the best. ESPN parent company Disney previously had 3 rounds of layoffs with the goal of eliminating 7,000 jobs. That was ordered by Bob Iger, and they're hitting ESPN, which is great. It's not for political reasons. I know people are looking at this saying, "Oh, some of the most outspoken woke commentators on ESPN in this case." Yeah, but that's not why they're doing it. It's just sort of the fact that they are eliminating the Jalen Roses of the world is just sort of a happy and Max Kellerman, just sort of a happy byproduct. Liz at Midway, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, good morning, Jan and Amy. Well, I've been listening to you for quite a while, the station all along in the town. Have access to the radio. But sorry, not sorry. In my mind, I keep playing that over and over. I would love to see Trump and Biden in a ring. And I know Trump would beat his ass, okay, excuse my French.
Yeah.
But I think he would have a technical knockout just like he does with the golf club and golf ball. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, not sorry. I don't care if they're 80, okay? I hope you guys have a good day, good week.
All right, thanks for the call, Liz. I think Biden would be knocked out by the ropes trying to climb into the ring. I mean,
I don't think he'd find the ring.
Never
He'd
happens.
be turning around like, what?
Never
What am I
happens.
doing?
Unless Nicole Wallace escorted him in or something like that, like she
That
was
was
doing
her-
duty on MSNBC last week.
He just gets up and walks away.
He was done.
Wait till you go to break. He's like, okay, where do I go now? And walks off the set.
He threw $20 on the table, and he said, I'm done with this whore, and I'm moving on. That's what it was.
Where are his people?
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. You can shed that fat, be slimmer for the summer. No more wearing cover-ups or T-shirts in the pool. NJ Diet will help you the natural way. There are no shots, no hormones, and no surgery. You'll lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans, to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose the weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat, not just losing water. And you even get Dr. T's personal email and phone number. Dr. T is the founder of NJ Diet. NJ Diet has locations close by in Skokie and Oak Brook, or is available from home with live online video consultations. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
Hey, I'm Raquel.
And I'm Babette.
Here to invite you to listen to our show, Belly of the Beast,
where we tackle all the hot topics and issues that you are talking about today.
So join us each week for our
hard-hitting,
fun,
informative,
topical,
out there
radio show where we leave nothing on the table.
Belly of the Beast, heard every Saturday evening at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer. And follow us on Facebook at Belly of the Beast IL.
Is your retirement plan based on hypothetical growth, an arbitrary spend-down rate, and an assumption of how long you will live? That's an if-come plan because you don't know if it's going to be there when you need it. Call now for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-619-SAFE. Get this valuable information now. That's 844-619-7233. And join Mark Kohler for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, Sunday afternoons at 3:30 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for Townhall.com. It's fitting that the Supreme Court has decided 303 Creative LLC versus Elenis in June, LGBTQ Pride Month. Like the well-known Masterpiece Cake Shop case, 303 Creative explores the tension between LGBTQ public accommodation rights and a business owner's First Amendment right not to be forced to use her creative talents to express a message violating her religious convictions. Thankfully, the majority has vindicated Colorado website designer Lori Smith's First Amendment freedoms, holding that she can't be forced to create sites at odds with her deeply held religious beliefs. Colorado argued that once Smith created a wedding site, she had to sell it to gay and straight customers alike. The court has made it clear. Anti-discrimination laws aren't intended to bludgeon creative workers into disseminating messages that violate their beliefs. It's a great day for the First Amendment and the constitutional rights of all Americans.
You know when you start up a motorcycle and you hear it go vroom, vroom, vroom when it takes off? I was losing that. I was losing my energy. I started using Balance of Nature about 1.5 years ago. Noticed the results immediately, and I went, oh my gosh, this works. This is what I've been missing all my life. I missed my va-va voom. I got it back.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Ever notice how most people never leave online reviews unless they're really mad? And they want the entire world to know how bad their experience was. Rick from Forever Remodeling here, and we average 4.8 stars on 144 Google reviews. I know what you're thinking. Sure, 132 people gave you 5 stars, but what about those 12 who didn't? Glad you asked. 3 of them are 1-star reviews from people we never even did business with. Most of the rest are 4-star reviews from people who loved us and said things like, "We are thrilled and would recommend Forever Remodeling to anyone." So why only 4 stars? One customer sums it up, "I only gave 4 stars because I never give 5. Fair enough. I guess. Google foreverremodeling.com and see for yourself. The reviews are all right there. We do kitchens, baths, basements, whole homes, and additions. Check us out at foreverremodeling.com or call 847-809-3355. That's foreverremodeling.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, postscript on sports and politics. And it's just more to the sports piece of it, not really politics here. Except to the extent that I wish I had Bobby Bonilla's agent. July 1st, Bobby Bonilla Day. Happened over the weekend. He got a paycheck for $1.193 million from the New York Mets July 1st, just 2 days ago. Despite having last played for them in 1999. It's been a minute. I mean, you know about the Bobby Bonilla Day story, right?
I don't.
In 91, he was the biggest free agent on the market after wrapping up 4 All-Star seasons with the Pirates and after getting out of Chicago so he could have a career. And he signed a 5-year, $29 million deal, which, you know, back in 92.
It's a big deal.
It was huge money.
Right.
He gets installments on July 1st through 2035. So the deal didn't work out. It was sort of a catastrophe. They traded him to Baltimore just 3 years later. And then he came back before the 99 season, but he only played 60 games. They still owed him $5.9 million on his remaining contract at the end of 99. Instead of paying him the rest of the money owed, I should say, they negotiated a deal to make annual payments of just under $1.2 million every July 1st from 2011 to 2035, when he will be 72 years old, and that included an 8% interest.
Oh. Which compounds. So that's why it's Happy Bobby Bonilla Day on July 1st.
So they ponied up $30 million over the long haul rather than paying him the $5.9 million still owed. Then owner Fred Wilpon had invested with Bernie Madoff, expecting big returns. He wound up losing $700 million because Madoff stole it. Of course, we know that story.
And now he's dead.
Yeah. So this is how you turn not only signing the big deal at the right time, not at the inception of your prime, but at what turned out to be basically the end of it. And then this guy makes a deal to stretch out, I'll pay you more if you don't take the lump sum up front. And here we are. Here we are, July 1st, 2023, and Bobby Bonilla, who's approaching his, mid-60s. He's approaching Medicare eligibility, that's for sure. He gets another $1.2 million check, even though he hasn't been in the league in 24 years.
And the new owner, Steve Cohen, he tweeted out, I hope everybody's enjoying my favorite day of the year, Bobby Bonilla Day.
One of the greatest deals.
That's great.
One of the greatest deals. The only deal
the Mets, they've embraced it, so it's good.
The only deal that's comparable to that, well, it's a contract is a contract. A deal
I hope
is a
he
deal.
shows up at the ballpark.
The only deal that's comparable to that, and this is not like a negotiate. This was genius on behalf of Bonilla, or by Bonilla, and I assume his agent.
Yeah.
The only thing that's comparable to that is Charlie Weiss getting $30 million to not coach football. Notre Dame and Kansas paying Charlie Weiss combined almost $30 million to stay away from the sidelines. We'll pay you whatever it takes to stay away from our football teams. Pretty good. Yeah. What do you think about that? $5.9 million turns into $30 million, and you're just sitting there enjoying the good life. You want to talk about an annuity? I mean, this is like Chicago Teachers Union money we're talking about here. This is real money. Bobby Bonilla is doing almost as well as, the fifth grade teacher at Spin the Wheel and Pick a High School that doesn't teach anybody to read or do math. Not bad. Yeah. Not bad for Bonilla. If you can keep up with Chicago Teachers, you keep up with the public sector unions in this state, you are making real bank, buddy.
I hope he lives to see it all. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:07, we haven't heard from Dylan Mulvaney in a while. We heard from the Bud Light CEO last week on that CBS Morning Show with Oprah's Friends.
Yeah.
Well, now Dylan Mulvaney wants to opine, and he will at 7:07.
Yeah, he's not happy. But now for news here at home and around the world, the one and only Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Amy and Dan, they're still paying George Brett, Dan Quisenberry, and Willie Wilson, the Kansas City Royal stars of the 1980s as well, too. So it may not be as much as Bobby Bonilla, but they're still paying off deferred contracts from that, too.
They're paying Quisenberry's estate. Rest in peace, Dan
Correct.
Quisenberry.
That's right. 4th of July weekend, rainy, and a NASCAR race. We'll hear from the winner. Heavy rain forces some action from the Water Reclamation District as well, and police say a missing teen could be in Minnesota. WIND Chicago News Times, 7 o'clock.
It's still a whodunit in Baltimore. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The day after a mass shooting at a block party left 2 people dead, 28 injured.
We will find those who are responsible, and we will not stop until we do so.
Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott.
The youngest victim, only 13 years old.
That's Fox's CB Cotton.
Witnesses telling our Fox affiliate there were hundreds at this party, and officers say the crime scene spans multiple blocks, and detectives are still looking for evidence.
They're also searching for a suspect in the nation's capital, where Fox's Ryan Schmelz reports.
There were 3 explosions within minutes of each other in the northeast part of Washington, D.C., the weekend that thousands of tourists traveled to the city for 4th of July festivities. According to police, the incidents happened between 4:30 and 4:45 in the morning, starting with an explosion outside an ATM, then a Nike store, followed by a Molotov cocktail allegedly being thrown at a Safeway, with a suspect driving away after.
There was damage, but no one hurt. It's up to 8 Palestinians dead, 50 wounded, as Israel attacks what it says is a militant stronghold in the West Bank. There were more protests across France, including more fires set and vandalism, but not as much as the 5 prior nights in the anger over a deadly police shooting.
More than 3,000 people have now been detained in the aftermath of the death of 17-year-old French-Algerian delivery driver Nahel. Members of Nahel's family pleaded for peace. His grandmother Nadia telling a French news station she was angry at the officer who shot her grandson dead, but still had faith in French justice.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. At the movies, Indiana Jones back on top of the box office.
I don't believe in magic.
But Harrison Ford's return and the Indiana Jones sequel, The Dial of Destiny, only had a $60 million opening weekend. And while that was good for number one, the movie cost 5 times more to make. America's
Skies are clear, 64 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Another violent holiday weekend in Chicago continues. So far, 30 people have been shot, 5 fatally, 3 alone on Friday night. Chicago firefighter recovering after he was injured during a blaze on the city's west side in the Austin neighborhood. It happened in the 1200 block of North Laverne early yesterday morning. That fire, by the way, took some time to put out due to flooding in the area. The Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago took some measures to alleviate flooding after heavy weekend rains. Sunday, officials announced they allowed water from the Chicago River to flow back into Lake Michigan. The move comes after up to 6 inches of rain fell over 2 days in many parts of the suburbs where some of the worst flooding took place. Rain nearly washed out NASCAR's first ever Chicago street race on Sunday. After attempting to start early and beat the storms, NASCAR was forced to push back the start of that race till about 5:30 in the afternoon, and when it finished, Shane Van Gisbergen was the winner.
Illinois embraces immigrants who are in search.
No, of course not, but you always dream of it, and thank you so much to the Trackhouse team and Hans Health, Project 91. Man, what an experience in the crowd out here. Like, this was so cool, and it's what you dream of, so hopefully I can come and do more.
The driver of the number 91 car led the field on a restart to capture the victory in overtime. Chicago police are asking for the public's help in finding a missing teen. 13-year-old Miracle Brown was last seen in the 4000 block of West Hirsch in Humboldt Park last Tuesday. White Sox held off a late rally in their 8-7 win over the A's, while the Cubs were unable to capitalize on a 4-run ninth and an 8-6 10-inning loss to Cleveland. The news a service of Tom Mirabali Insurance. No matter the time of year, you can purchase a PPO health insurance plan that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. Get started, healthplanchicago.com. 7:04. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Charlie Kirk Show.
What information did Trump even share with the reporter? He seems to have literally just flashed some papers. The reporter didn't even get a copy. They didn't get to read it. The big picture fact is that it's ludicrous to menace President Trump with 100 years in prison over this garbage. And that's what it is. This is garbage.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. GAWon'tWait.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Our doctor thinks it's wonderful. Well, we got more energy. We feel like doing more. Yeah, we're 83 and 84 years old. And we're talking about buying a pontoon boat. What's that tell you? We may say, hey, come out and film us.
I had my checkup, and I told the doctor, and he said, and I showed him what I was taking. He said, well, I have to look into Balance of Nature. He said, that's great. So he may be referring orders to you, too.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:07. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. I-80. This is in Will County. 2 left lanes are blocked with an overturned vehicle. An accident. It's westbound at LaGrange Road. Some better news for DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Northbound lanes between the Stevenson and Monroe have been reopened for the morning rush. An earlier accident pulled out of your way on I-57 outbound at 107th, and an earlier accident has just been hauled out of your way outbound on the Stevenson at the Des Plaines River Bridge. But an inbound accident has just popped up inbound right before the Dan Ryan. You have stop-and-go traffic involved from Damon on into the accident site. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Warmer this afternoon, mostly sunny and nice, high 87. Clear and humid for tomorrow night, low 68. For the 4th of July tomorrow, remaining humid, mostly sunny and hot with a high 92. For the fireworks tomorrow night, warm, humid, and mainly clear, low 72. I'm Cheryl Golden on AM 560, The Answer.
65 at O'Hare, 63 along the lakefront, 64 at Midway, 61 in Lansing. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So last week, Bud Light CEO came out of the shadows and tried to chart a new course for Bud Light, putting the ugliness of the Dylan Mulvaney ad campaign behind them. Didn't work. Partly because he is a fork-tongued eunuch. That's how he presented himself before Oprah Winfrey's friends on that CBS morning show.
I missed it, but...
And so the other thing he did, probably much to his chagrin, particularly amid calls that he stepped down, former Anheuser-Busch executive Anson Frericks said it's time for Whitworth to go. He said he has botched multiple opportunities to right the company's ship in the wake of the boycotts. He said it would be better for the company shareholders to compel him to leave rather than staying and offering more bland responses to the current PR crisis. He's shown himself incapable of solving the Mulvaney crisis. He's had multiple chances and he's failed, Frericks said of Whitworth. And the other, as I was mentioning, the other problem is, much to his chagrin, it brought Dylan Mulvaney back into public view as that dude who runs around pretending to be a little girl. Gross.
That's gross. And as he like sleepovers, wearing pink and all this.
So
disgusting.
So Dylan Mulvaney reprising his view on Bud Light and trans in, that positively affirming way that he represents womanhood, right?
One thing I will not tolerate people saying about me is that I don't like beer, because I love beer and I always have. I built my platform on being honest with you, and what I'm about to tell you might sound like old news, but you know that feeling when you have something uncomfy like sitting on your chest? Well, that's how I feel right now. So this feels like the right thing to do. I took a brand deal with a company that I loved, and I posted a sponsored video to my page. And it must have been a slow news week, because the way that this ad got blown up, you would have thought I was like on a billboard or on a TV commercial or something major. But no, it was just an Instagram video. And the wildest part is that they also sent me one can with my face on it. You might have seen it. And funny story, I had the can around my house, but then I realized, wait, I need to protect this can. So I hid it somewhere, And now I can't find it because I hid it so well. But when I do find it, I feel like it needs to go in a museum, preferably behind bulletproof glass. And you might be thinking, Dylan, why bring it up now? I'm bringing it up because what transpired from that video was more bullying and transphobia than I could have ever imagined. And I should have made this video months ago, but I didn't. And I was scared, and I was scared of more backlash, and I felt personally guilty for what transpired. So I patiently waited for things to get better. But surprise, they haven't really. And I was waiting for the brand to reach out to me, but they never did. And for months now, I've been scared to leave my house. I have been ridiculed in public. I've been followed. And I have felt a loneliness that I wouldn't wish on anyone. And I'm not telling you this because I want your pity. I am telling you this because if this is my experience from a very privileged perspective, know that it is much, much worse for other trans people.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Well, that just ensured that Bud Light is going to keep hearing from the trans and trans-adjacent community, keeping the pressure on and making it impossible for them to recover their brand equity if in the near term, if ever, honestly. And good, fine, no problem.
Do you like the new blonde hair he's sporting in this video? Kidding.
Dylan Mulvaney is a good illustration of the sort of barbarism that comes dressed up in drag. He's really, whether it's an act or there's a mental illness or some intersection of the two, he's a detestable figure because of this charade and the popularity of it and how it, drives people in the direction of phony tenderness, which, as Flannery O'Connor famously described, ends in the gas chamber. That's the real ugliness. Oh, the ugliness of people who aren't celebrating, rah-rahing Drag Queen Story Hour and Dylan Mulvaney's self-indulgent claptrap on TikTok. There's no hate there. There's no violence there. Not by the enlightened.
Well, he seems hurt that, because he mentioned that the brand Bud Light never reached out to him during this difficult period.
Yeah, that's posturing. This is what I'm describing is the sort of scam that's being run.
Well, he's an actor.
No
guys.
different than the scams that race hustlers run, like the Al Sharptons.
He's
of
making
the world.
money. You think he's going to go away?
That's not the important point. The important point is what it implicates about our culture and people who feel so empathetic with Dylan Mulvaney's plight as this 20-something-year-old dude prances around pretending to be a girl and pretending to be some sort of beacon for the trans community. That, of course, has been artificially pumped up because what a society celebrates, it generates. And so you're generating more people, more kids that identify this way because they see you get rewarded if you do. People pay attention to you.
Or maybe I can become a social media influencer just like Mulvaney. So maybe I should change genders or pretend to and see what happens. Maybe they'll find love there. That's the problem.
The embrace of barbarism. Heather McDonald has a really good piece in City Journal about it, Battle for Cultural Survival, talking about this. And here's what the left does. So it's like, here's what the left does, the race hustlers do on with their hustle. Read Shelby Steele to understand it. The culture of deference, white guilt. Like, understand the approach so you can inform other people and so you stop getting backed down by this sophistry, sentimentalist sophistry. Heather McDonald, coverage of the alleged culture war involving trans, which is really what we're talking about. Forget even the LGBT. We're talking about trans. That's where all the zeitgeist is. That's where all the action is, because it is about eradicating sex, like XX and XY sex. Coverage of this alleged culture war demonstrates the left's most important power, the ability to set the default. The left engineers disruption after disruption to long-standing social practices, each more sweeping than the last. As soon as those changes are in place, they become the norm, treated as having existed from time immemorial. Questioning that new default is painted as churlish and radical. The left never has to meet a burden of proof to implement its changes. The burden falls exclusively on conservatives seeking to restore a once uncontroversial tradition, like men and women using their respective bathrooms. That's heretical. How dare you? Though conservatives are portrayed as the aggressors, in reality, they are always on the defensive. Now that academic gender theorists have managed to infiltrate their startling creed into virtually every mainstream American institution, contradicting millennia of human experience and centuries of scientific confirmation of that experience, any dissent from the new default is portrayed as a war against the natural order of things. Dissenters are hateful, even homicidal. That's exactly what you see playing out. She's describing it to a T. When the LGBTQ program director for Media Matters claims that right-wing culture warriors are creating a strange world where bathrooms and locker rooms are segregated by sex assigned at birth and where boys may not compete against girls in female sports, the default is at work. Yeah, this strange world we're talking about where men don't compete against women in sports and you use separate locker rooms and bathrooms. By the way, assigned at birth, this phrase. Assigned by who?
The doctor. I don't know.
Assigned by who?
Well, when you give birth, like many of us have. Sorry, you haven't yet, Dan.
I could.
But they come out, the doctor says, it's a boy or a girl. That's the first thing they say. Congratulations, you have a boy.
Heather McDonald, only institutions that sought to break the human spirit, such as concentration and labor camps, deliberately strip the sexes of their privacy. Many girls are embarrassed to be seen naked in a locker room, even with each other. Now, however, signs announcing that a bathroom does not discriminate on the basis of sex are the default. Default. Deference. Default. Commit these to memory. Restrictions on such cross-sex use are the ones that now face an impossible burden of proof. I mean, it's just, she makes another great point, too, about this. The philosophical incoherence of it all. It turns out that it's okay to conform to what gender theorists still insist are oppressive gender stereotypes, but only if you're a member of the opposite sex. You can conform to the stereotypes as long as you're a man pretending to be a woman. So true. A drag queen's understanding of what it means to be female activates what in any other context would be viewed as demeaning patriarchal notions of femaleness. Emotional, loud, pumped up to sex toy proportions by push-up bras, silicone implants, butt padding, fake eyelashes, glitter eyeshadow, lip injections and gloss, rapier fingernails, low-cut dresses, high-reaching skirt slits, sequins, feather boas, and stiletto heels. Cultural appropriation is taboo, but gender appropriation is the right hand, in the right hands is celebrated, even though, according to gender theorists, there should be nothing to appropriate. I mean, it's also in contradictions with itself, isn't it? If you do a little thinking on the topic. But we're not here to think. Not if we're going to be allies of the left. In fact, that's verboten. You are not to think. You are to do what Dylan did. Feel. Mm-hmm. I feel this is the right thing to do. Well, if you feel it's right, then it must be right. Your feelings. Who could question your feelings? You feel your feelings, young man.
And everyone has to know about it. Keep nothing to yourself.
The default. the default. You have to go after the default. It's like Thomas Sowell's, always look at the premise. Forget the position people say they hold. Look at the premise from which they're starting.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
Elliot, Southside.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Just want to say I'd like to just do away with this word, because words matter, transphobic, because that implies a fear. And I don't fear, I just don't care. I'm more trans apathetic than anything, and I'm so tired of just being beat over the head with this news. It's ridiculous that there's a whole month that it's focused on. It's done now. It's time to celebrate our country tomorrow, family, God, our nation, and I just happy that it's over with, and let's move on.
Yeah, thanks for the call.
But it's never over. I mean, there's 143 days that have some kind of...
It's not even counting the days. It is central to our culture and the cultural war that the left is waging. So there is no break. Just ask Johnson Varkey, St. Philip's College in San Antonio, biology professor. When teaching the human reproductive system, Professor Varkey stated human sex is determined by chromosomes X and Y, and reproduction must occur between a male and a female to continue the human species. Then he was fired.
And are you transphobic if you don't buy Bud Light or drink it anymore? I mean, people just decided to, say, no, I'll move on because Bud Light lost billions of dollars in revenue and market value.
Jordan in Antioch.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Glad to hear you back. This whole Bud Light thing, Dylan Mulvaney, they brought that on themselves, and this is, Dylan Mulvaney just said it in his own words, right? He got that can and he decided to do that post. So the whole chain of events, Bud Light makes this can. They give it to a guy who's all about himself and just crazy attention. So he has to do a post. And now, consequently, Bud Light's paying for that, which good for them. That's what they asked for.
Well, don't forget. This isn't all Dylan Mulvaney. It's bigger than that.
No, I know. It started in the boardroom.
Right, and then that Alyssa Heinerscheid, that marketing director, who attacked, who's gone, who attacked Bud Light's customers. Yes, that's right.
Yes, sir. And she's gone. And now Dylan Mulvaney's irrelevant. And why did they reach out to you, Dylan? Because you went with this other lady that's gone and perpetuated something they didn't. Now they started it, but now they're paying for it, and that's why they don't want anything to do with them. So once again, it's all about me. And if you keep pushing in the face, and that's what you get. People, it's not as popular as people think. And going, like the caller before said, he's tired of the Pride Month. You know what? None of this stuff gains traction if you never even admit that it's a thing. Don't celebrate it. Don't cotton to it, and just don't even let it enter into your life. That's where they get you, and they keep doing that. I shared a story last week with this call screener. Benchmade knives, right? Benchmade knives. They make really nice knives, and they committed the holy grail of sins against the 2A community. They destroyed guns, and they all went nuts. They got out and said, "This is why we did it. This is who we did it for. This is who we support." And they never ostracized their base. And guess what? They're still selling knives, and you never heard about it. The lady that went ahead is going, they have to take it to the next level. They have to bring it to a personal attack and try to shut you down. And then what happens? They're all dismissed. Why? Because it's not as popular as people want to think it is. It's not as popular. The trans movement is not as popular as people want to claim it is. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Jordan. Although, just remember, he's right, and it's a good point. But it doesn't need to be popular to get power. It needs, essentially, to borrow from Burke, good men and women to do nothing. And then a motivated minority can subjugate a majority.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Sean Thompson, and I'm proud to tell you about the great work of the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, a new partner of ours here at AM 560. Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping America's heroes ever since. When a first responder or military service member doesn't come home and young children are left behind, Tunnel to Towers pays the mortgage on the family home to lift the financial burden and bring stability. For catastrophically injured veterans and first responders, Tunnel to Towers builds mortgage-free smart homes, giving our most severely injured heroes the ability to live more independent lives. You can help America's heroes and their families by supporting the Tunnel to Towers Foundation when you make a small donation of just $11 a month. Go to T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org. T2T.org.
Do you really want to take shots the rest of your life just to lose weight? NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast as weight loss injections without any of the side effects. Plus, you learn proper portion control and develop healthy eating habits for the rest of your life. By the end of NJ Diet's 40-day program, you will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds, contractually guaranteed. You will lose the weight and keep it off the natural way. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. Locations locally in Skokie and Oakbrook or available with live online video consultations. Don't take shots the rest of your life. Lose weight quickly the natural way with NJ Diet. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
Want some wins? Wintrust Community Banks is proud to be ranked #1 in customer satisfaction with personal banking in Illinois by J.D. Power. That's one win. And we did it for the second year in a row. That's a win-win. And you can now earn even more interest with our new savings rates. That's a win-win-win. To get your savings some wins, visit wintrust.com/locknewrates today. That's wintrust.com/locknewrates. Members FDIC. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and want to see what Salem Surround can do for you, visit surroundchicago.com. Remember to visit surroundchicago.com today.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll discuss last week's SCOTUS decisions with particular emphasis on the 303 Creative decision, the religious liberty case, since we haven't talked much about that yet. We'll do it all with Professor Randy Barnett from Georgetown Law at 7:37.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, 64 at 7:31, and riots in France seem to be easing overnight into Monday, driven by a teenage backlash in the suburbs and urban housing projects against a French state that many young people with immigrant roots say routinely discriminates against them. Israel has used drones to target strikes in a militant stronghold in the occupied West Bank, deploying hundreds of troops in the area. Monday's incursion resembled the wide-scale military operations carried out during the second Palestinian uprising 2 decades ago. Emergency officials in New Hampshire say a car crashed into a busy restaurant and injured several patrons in a lakeside town. 14 were injured yesterday. Baltimore police are looking for several possible suspects in a shooting that killed 2 and wounded 28 at a neighborhood party.
We know for sure there is definitely more than one. We don't know exactly how many, but we do know more than one person was shooting.
Authorities did not release any information on possible suspects. The nation's transportation secretary optimistic about the state of air travel.
We saw the most air passengers, not only since COVID, but we think ever. And we saw cancellation rates and delay rates below 3%.
Pete Buttigieg on CNN's State of the Union, he did note that during the holiday weekend there were numerous delays and cancellations. One GOP presidential candidate says he will not take the pledge to support the nominee, even if it means being left out of debates.
I can't lie to get access to a microphone.
Speaking on CNN's State of the Union, former Texas Congressman Will Hurd said he will not back Donald Trump if the former president is the Republican nominee. Another violent holiday weekend in Chicago. Police are reporting 30 people shot, 5 fatally, 3 alone on Friday night. Chicago firefighter recovering after being badly hurt in a blaze on the city's west side in the Austin neighborhood early yesterday morning. Rain nearly washed out NASCAR's first ever event, forced to an afternoon start. Your winner was Shane Van Gisbergen.
No, of course not, but you always dream of it. And thank you so much to the Trackhouse team and Hans Health, Project 91. Man, what an experience in the crowd out here. Like, this was so cool. And it's what you dream of, so hopefully I can come and do more.
Meantime, one man is in custody facing charges after actually driving onto the closed-off NASCAR track Saturday night around 9 o'clock after the day's events had already been delayed by the weather. White Sox 8-7 winners over the A's, while the Cubs lost to Cleveland 8-6 in 10. The Bulls bringing in some backcourt depth, signing Javon Carter to a 3-year, $20 million deal. The news, a service of Dan and Amy 24/7, and you can listen now, danandamy247.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum has lost trust.
I do not have confidence that this particular indictment, none of them, to be honest, are done in good faith. I don't have the confidence that they are not attempting to use political leverage to attack an opponent.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Our doctor thinks it's wonderful. Well, we got more energy. We feel like doing more. Yeah, we're 83 and 84 years old. And we're talking about buying a pontoon boat. What's that tell you? We may say, hey, come out and film us.
I had my checkup, and I told the doctor, and he said, and I showed him what I was taking. He said, well, I have to look into Balance of Nature. He said, that's great. So he may be referring orders to you, too.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Paid actor, not a real customer. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 44-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
Welcome to Ethos, a new kind of insurance company that believes life insurance should be hassle-free, affordable, and accessible for everyone.
For around $1 a day, I got a 20-year, $250,000 term life insurance policy without a medical exam. All I had to do was answer a few health questions and snap, family protected. It was quick and easy. Ethos is 100% online. I got a quote in seconds, applied in minutes, and got coverage in hours. Just answer a few health questions. No medical exam, no blood tests, no hassle. Look, nobody wants to plan for the unthinkable, but it would be so much worse to not plan at all. So don't put it off. It feels great having the peace of mind knowing that my family is protected.
Ethos, the 100% online hassle-free way to get affordable life insurance. Don't wait. Get your free online quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ethoslife.com.
Find great hires fast with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
7:37. Let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of MyPillow. Big news, brand new MyPillow 2.0. Buy one, get one free. Promo code Liberty. Machine washable? Yup. 60-day money-back guarantee? Yup. MyPillow.com. Promo code Liberty. I-80, Will County, overturned vehicle blocking two left-hand lanes westbound at LaGrange Road. On the Reagan I-88, bad rollover accident, two right lanes blocked westbound at Roosevelt Road. Dan Ryan outbound, an accident on the exit ramp right at 95th. IDOT clearing several vehicles involved in that crash. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny, pleasant, warmer, high 87. Clear, humid, 68. Hot and humid tomorrow for the 4th of July. Sunshine and clouds, high near 92, and we'll squeeze in probably a 15% chance of some parts of the area seeing a pop-up thunderstorm. 66 degrees officially at O'Hare. Next news at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So you generated some responses from Mr. 10%, the big guy, President Biden, and his spokeshuman, KJP, responding to the Supreme Court decisions handed down on Friday that eliminated his student loan forgiveness by executive fiat and also upheld, unsurprisingly, the religious liberty of a graphic designer in Colorado. I mean, it was almost right on point with the Masterpiece Cake Shop case, the Jack Phillips cases over the years.
Right, but everybody acted so surprised, so outraged.
It's literally the same dynamic.
Right.
And we'll get to that. Here's the big guy explaining, well, not really explaining, just stating, because that's what he does, that Supreme Court doesn't understand the Constitution. They got the Constitution wrong when it came to his loan forgiveness of up to $20,000 for those who make $125,000 or less.
Mr. President, why did you give millions of borrowers false hope? You've doubted your own authority here in the past.
I didn't give any false hope. The question was whether or not I would do even more than was requested. What I did, I thought was appropriate and was able to be done and would get done. I didn't give borrowers false hope, but the Republicans snatched away the hope that they were given, and it's real hope. Thank you.
Mr. President, will you cancel
your authority? Did you overstep your authority?
I think the court misinterpreted the Constitution.
Mm-hmm. And KJP, of course, the additional pain of this Supreme Court decision in the 303 Creative case coming down on the last day of Pride Month. Personally hurt by that.
We are deeply disappointed in the Supreme Court's decision today in 303 Creative, which takes our nation backward in the fight for equality. This decision undermines the basic truth that no American should face discrimination for who they are or who they love. And it's even more disappointing as we close out Pride Month today. It chips away at a long-standing laws that protect all Americans against discrimination in public accommodations, including people of color, people with disabilities, and people of faith, and women. While the court's decision only addresses expressive original designs, as President Biden said today, we are concerned that the decision could invite more discrimination against the LGBTQ+ community. And we know that when one group's dignity and equality are threatened, the promise of our democracy is threatened, and we all suffer.
Right. So everything's a threat to our democracy. Everything we disagree with is a threat to our democracy.
Governor Pritzker released a statement, and Brandon Johnson echoing the same sentiment.
Yeah, because they're, KJP is just a moron. She doesn't know anything. J.B. Pritzker is a craven political hack, and Brandon Johnson somewhere in between. Just to make this real simple, I mean, Randy Barnett will make it simpler, but the Jack Phillips case, not that he wouldn't, just to refresh your recollection, not that he wouldn't serve LGBTQ customers. You want to make a birthday cake for a relative? No problem. You want me to make a wedding cake for a ceremony that violates my religious beliefs? I can't do that. Same thing here. You want me, you're a gay person, and you want me to make a website for some association or charity you support or something like this? No problem. You want me to make a website that specifically promotes something that is at odds with my religious beliefs? That's where you have a problem. It's not the person. It's compelling the expression. And it's actually sad that you have 3 Supreme Court justices who can't understand that distinction. Sort of basic First Amendment protections here, at least in my view. For more on this, pleased to be joined by Randy Barnett, Georgetown law professor, author of Our Republican Constitution, Securing the Liberty and Sovereignty of We the People. Randy, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan, it's good to be here. You sound so sad and you sound so down. You seems like you should be up a little more upbeat this morning.
Well, I mean, well, first of all,
we'll go over that later.
First of all, it was anticipated. I mean, all these decisions were anticipated. There's no surprises. And secondly, as you know, there's what the Supreme Court decides, and then there's the culture battle that ensues to actually implement it. You know, Brown v. Board of Education wasn't implemented overnight, and now we have a culture that's trying to undo it for all, in the of all things most absurd. So, I mean, that's the point here is not about being happy or sad. It's about dealing with the sort of, ignorance that you hear from people like KJP and the president.
Well, I do get that. Well, you say it's not a surprise, but I think there were a number of people who, having seen some of the earlier opinions issued by the court earlier in June, started to get nervous that these cases might not come out the way they'd come out, the ones that were decided on Thursday and Friday. So to some people, it was kind of a relief that they ended up coming out the way they did.
Well, sure, but, for example, good piece by a scholar from the American Enterprise Institute in the Journal over the weekend. This victory against socializing student loan debt may be short-lived because the Department of Education is already promulgating all of these student loan forgiveness strictures that will sort of end run what the executive order that Joe Biden issued attempted to do. You know, it's this Obamacare redux. We're going to get through the back door while we can't get through the front.
Right. Well, there is a pattern of resistance to judicial rulings that we have seen in recent years, and with these particular cases, it's likely to get worse. But let me go back to another issue that you raised, which is whether these were a surprise or whether they are straightforwardly right. And in both the cases of 303 Creative, which was the website design, and Students for Fair Admissions, which is the affirmative action case, both of these decisions did go a bit beyond what the court had been willing to do before, and therefore represented progress for those people who think this is the right answer. That was not exactly in the previous cases, although had been signaled in the previous cases. So in the case of 303 Creative, in the Masterpiece Cape Shop, as you'll remember, I actually attended the oral arguments in that case. They decided not to address the free speech issue in that case, which is I had a brief saying that this should be a free speech case, and I had a brief in 303 Creative as well that said the same thing, a brief of law professors. But they decided to go off in that case on the animosity or animus that was being shown towards Jack Phillips by certain members of the Colorado Human Rights Commission.
Right.
And for that reason, it was a very narrow decision and never really reached the free speech issue. It was based on anti-religious animus. So this case does reach the free speech issue,
Which is why they picked it up. Which is why they
right,
granted cert. Yeah.
Exactly, because with Justice Kennedy being replaced by Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Kennedy was the swing vote in Masterpiece Cake Shop, and with Justice Kavanaugh replacing Justice Kennedy, now we've moved to a 6-3 situation with Justice Roberts now joining the 5 other conservatives to get us to this result. Similarly, in the affirmative action case, the previous case of Fisher 1 and Fisher 2, while the court did say that the use of racial classification should be given strict scrutiny, in Fisher 2, the second of the cases that went up to the court from the University of Texas, Justice Kennedy once again deferred to the University of Texas on whether racial classifications were necessary to achieve what it claimed to be diversity. Again, with this case, applying strict scrutiny for real, they found that the Supreme Court found that affirmative action was not necessary to achieve a legitimate, to a compelling state interest, and in fact was itself violative of the Constitution to use race in this way. So that was a major step forward. Again, enabled by the fact that Justice Kennedy was replaced by his former law clerk, Justice Kavanaugh, and then at that point, Chief Justice Roberts joins the 5 conservatives, making it 6-3, rather than making Chief Justice Roberts the swing vote.
Here in the academy, I mean, we heard we played on Friday. It was circling the web. The dean at Berkeley Law School talking about how they do workarounds when it comes to considering race in hiring decisions. He's obviously on the hiring committee, and so it's a wink and a nod. I mean, we all know why we're here. We all think the same thing. So just don't say it out loud, but we all know what we're supposed to do. And that's obviously the culture on most college campuses. And so your sense of how this will actually translate in terms of real-world impact, the college admissions decisions.
It's not going to be the last word. The person who that video was with, Dean Erwin Chemerinsky,
right,
who is actually a distant relationship of mine. He was a year behind me at Northwestern and a year behind me at Harvard Law School, and started his teaching career at DePaul in Chicago before he went west. I think he was saying the quiet part out loud. We can expect institutions of higher education to do what they can to get around this ruling, as schools have been doing in California and Michigan, where there were constitutional amendments put into their constitution barring the use of race in admissions and for other uses, and yet, nevertheless, we think that's been going on in those cases anyway. But this additional lawsuits when this sort of practice is found, what you notice in the face of massive Democratic resistance, which is also what they did to the Brown case, that it takes a lot of work and effort to move forward. But a Supreme Court opinion like Brown, which, as you noted, did not get implemented right away due to massive Democratic resistance, it did make a difference. It was.
What does this mean? I mean, Harvard University, the acting president, she came out with a video late yesterday, I do believe, saying that. Well, she said that they're still going to use race in admissions. I mean, they noted they're going to follow the law, but it's still going to consider race among other factors for applications.
Well, the opinion did give them a bit of a out that's now going to have to be litigated in follow-up cases, and that is saying Chief Justice Roberts, who otherwise was very good on this issue, saying that this was not going to prevent colleges from considering essays in which students identify their own
identity. And Biden's the adversity. We're not. You will use adversity instead of diversity. We'll have diversity statements. I mean, right? The obvious workarounds that you said that are in operation right now in certain states, and that they're prepared for this, of course.
Well, they're also the other thing that we've been seeing in the year building up to this after oral argument is a reduced reliance on test scores like the SAT score or the LSAT score, and I think that was in anticipation of what the ruling was going to be here, so that there would be less ability, for example, of Asian Americans to demonstrate that objectively speaking they were being discriminated against on the basis which could be established by comparing their test scores and GPAs with the other admittees.
What do you think the implications are in terms of, you mentioned that this will spawn more litigation, and you're right, and that will be interesting to see how the court ultimately adjudicates challenges to race-based policies at the K through 12 level, race-based policies and within corporations that receive any government funding, minority contracting preferences in municipalities. All of those categories of race-based policy implicated in this decision?
Well, it's going to depend on a lot's going to depend on whether the court is prepared to hear follow-up cases. We see in the gun rights domain, Dan, as you know, after Heller and after McDonald, Heller recognized individual right to bear arms against the federal government. A right against the federal government to bear arms, and McDonald extending that right to the states. We had 10 years of massive resistance, but not only by states like Illinois, which is continuing on to this day, but by the lower courts, including courts that are supposedly conservative, like Judge Easterbrook on the Seventh Circuit, essentially trying to say, make us, we don't like this, and we're not going to go along with it. And the court just last term had to decide the Bruen case, in which they said that we really mean it. But even the Bruen case is now engendering some pushback as well. So this is an ongoing process, and as I say, we've seen that sort of resistance dating back to Brown versus Board of Education.
Yeah, and of course, you have hysterics on the left, distorting the discussion, and so it becomes the cultural battle that I was describing. But
I do think that we should focus on the good news here, and that is that as I think I mentioned to you during in the aftermath of the Obamacare case, where I was one of the lawyers, it turns out that having 5 votes, 5 conservative justices, is not enough, because if you only have 5 votes, then one of them is going to be the compromiser. All the pressure is going to be put on that 5th vote to come out the, quote, right way, and then they will tend to break. And it was Justice Kennedy. They took turns being the 5th vote. Sometimes it was Justice Roberts. But if you get to 6 votes, the dynamic completely changes. Because at that point, the person who might otherwise have broken, be it Chief Justice Roberts or what it would have been a Justice Kennedy, now has a decision to make. Are they going to go with the 4 dissenter justices, or are they going to join the majority of conservatives and make it a more than a 5-4 vote? It'll now be a 6-3 vote, and we've seen that dynamic now play out, where 6 conservative justices, and I do count Chief Justice Roberts as a conservative. I always did, even if he ruled against us in the Obamacare case for what I consider to be bad reasons. This turns out that 6 justices is hugely different than 5 justices.
Well, the dynamic, the game theory dynamic here is Roberts doesn't want to lose the court. And if he's not with the majority in these cases, he starts to lose the court effectively. So, whatever incentivizes him to be more courageous than he's otherwise inclined to be, and not just the Obamacare case. But, yeah, I agree. There's no question. And obviously this is a feather in Trump's cap, since we're in the context of a presidential campaign. If I were President Trump, I'd be running around reminding everybody that, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and these decisions on affirmative action and student debt forgiveness and religious liberty are because of the appointments I made.
Well, it is definitely a feather in his cap. It's a feather in the cap of Don McGahn, who was his White House counsel and stood behind the nominees, and it was a feather in the cap of Mitch McConnell, who saw all three of these nominations through, even though each one of them presented their own difficulties in getting them through. Anyway, it's a very important. You raise a good issue. This is a hugely important issue for 2024. If you want to see decisions like this continue, it's going. I think it's going to be quite necessary for there to be a Republican president, regardless of whether that is President Trump or President DeSantis. I should say Governor DeSantis.
Well,
and that's. Otherwise, this is going to be a temporary phenomenon.
Right, and it's essentially indicated as such by some on the left responding with all of what you've heard in the run-up to this, allegations, baseless allegations of essentially Supreme Court Justices Thomas and Alito being compromised, AOC over the weekend invoking the prospect of impeachment. Not that that would go anywhere, but it's all designed to suggest that the Supreme Court is not legitimate because it's not deciding cases in the way that AOC would. Hardy har har.
They wouldn't be doing that if they thought they were going to get the court back in the short term, because they wouldn't want to delegitimate the institution that they then want to control and use for their own purposes. But it's because they anticipate they're not going to be getting it back that they've now decided that we don't really need the Supreme Court after all. And all the decades in which they said, if you don't like the rulings of the court, then you're going to have to get different justices on the court. That was all cheap talk. In fact, the court needs to rule their way, or it's a nice little court here. Too bad if something were to happen to it.
Yeah, exactly right. Good point. Randy Barnett is Georgetown law professor. He's also the author of the book, Our Republican Constitution, Securing Liberty and the Sovereignty of We the People. Professor Barnett, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. It's fitting that the Supreme Court has decided 303 Creative LLC versus Elenis in June, LGBTQ Pride Month. Like the well-known Masterpiece Cake Shop case, 303 Creative explores the tension between LGBTQ public accommodation rights and a business owner's First Amendment right not to be forced to use her creative talents to express a message violating her religious convictions. Thankfully, the majority has vindicated Colorado website designer Lori Smith's First Amendment freedoms, holding that she can't be forced to create sites at odds with her deeply held religious beliefs. Colorado argued that once Smith created a wedding site, she had to sell it to gay and straight customers alike. The court has made it clear. Anti-discrimination laws aren't intended to bludgeon creative workers into disseminating messages that violate their beliefs. It's a great day for the First Amendment and the constitutional rights of all Americans.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
A lot of Americans are still on the move. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Airports have been busy before the 4th of July.
Getting in, it was so lined up, I didn't know if we were going to make it today.
Not much you can do other than hope to get through before we miss a flight.
They're in Atlanta, and so far there have not been as much trouble as last week when bad weather and air traffic control shortages canceled thousands of flights. FlightAware reports just over 80 cancellations. Friday's travel set a record. TSA reports screening 2.88 million passengers, breaking a 2019 all-time high. Now, the U.S. has issued a China travel advisory telling Americans who are thinking about going there to reconsider, warning that U.S. citizens risk being detained without being given information or having access to American consular services. But Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen will be going to China on Thursday.
In what a senior administration official says is an attempt to deepen and increase the frequency of communication between the U.S. and China. The trip comes mere weeks after Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit, where a last-minute meeting with China's President Xi Jinping was kept short and produced no definite agreements to resolve growing tensions. China's currency is threatening the U.S. dollar for global oil trade.
That's Fox's Evan Brown. The search continues in Baltimore as police comb through social media looking for the gunman who shot up a block party early yesterday, killing 2 people, injuring 28 more. Mayor Brandon Scott vows to find them.
Another glaring, unfortunate example of the deep issues of violence in Baltimore, in Maryland, in this country, and particularly gun violence and the access to illegal guns.
In Chicago over the weekend, 30 people were shot, 3 of them killed. The city was also hit by strong storms.
We woke up and there was no power, no electricity, no nothing.
And roads and highways were flooded. It forced NASCAR to shorten a race on the streets of downtown Chicago. Shane Van Gisbergen won it in his NASCAR debut. America's listening to Fox.
68 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man in custody following the deadly shooting early this morning in the city's Little Village neighborhood. The shooting happened around 12:15 in the 2600 block of South Millard. Police say officers responded to shots fired at a residence. Those officers responding just after midnight and found 3 people struck by gunfire. Another violent holiday weekend continues as Chicago police are reporting 30 shot, 5 fatally, 3 alone on Friday night. Chicago firefighter recovering after being hurt during a blaze in the city's Austin neighborhood. That firefighter was rushed to West Suburban Medical Center and later transported to a critical care center. Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago took some measures to try and alleviate flooding after heavy weekend rains, allowing water from the Chicago River to flow back into Lake Michigan. This after 6 to 8 inches of rain fell over the past couple of days in many parts of the suburbs where some of the worst flooding took place. Chicago police are asking for the public's help in finding a missing teen. 13-year-old Miracle Brown was last seen in the 4000 block of West Hirsch in the Humboldt Park neighborhood. And a single-family residence in Lisle was destroyed Saturday evening by an explosion. No one was hurt. In fact, neighbors in the area say no one was home as the family was away on vacation. White Sox hold off a late rally in an 8-7 win over the A's, while the Cubs lost to the Guardians 8-6, and the Blackhawks had veteran forward Ryan Donato over the weekend. Donato signing a 2-year, $2 million deal. The news, a service of StarCase, the most dependable road cases you can buy, designed and made right here in the Midwest. Go to starcase.com to order your case now. 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report. Wall Street is open today for a short session before closing for the July 4th holiday. Apple shares open today with the company's market value at $3 trillion, the first company to reach that level. Tyson Foods is dropping the no antibiotics ever label on some chicken products. Several years ago, Tyson became the largest poultry processor to scrap antibiotics. The Wall Street Journal says the company plans to add some antibiotics used to treat a poultry disease. The medication is not medically important for treating humans. Reinsurance rates for property rose by as much as 50% at the start of this month, with California, Florida, and other states hit by wildfires and hurricanes. Reinsurers cover insurance companies, and the costs are passed on to customers. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Thompson here for my friend Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth. There aren't many people who would knowingly leave their job to start another job for a 30% cut in pay. And yet, people do it every day when they enter retirement. Why enter the exciting new chapter of your life with less money? Why trade the stress of work for more stress in retirement? Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group can help. Just call Tom at 630-934-1855 for your complimentary, customized retirement. It addresses many of the big questions you may have, like what to do about Social Security, managing your investments, and how to create income you can never outlive. You can downsize your house, but don't downsize your lifestyle. Get a complimentary, customized retirement plan at 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. That's alphawealthgroup.com.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, RWA, an SEC registered investment advisor. RWA and Alpha Wealth Group are independent of each other. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Are you growing your manufacturing team this year and need new employees? Turn to Monarch Technical Services. They've been leading the Chicago staffing industry for manufacturing and engineering since 1987. You'll appreciate their vetting process. They meet every candidate in person to interview and test for specific skills. Monarch assesses experience by using blueprint, shop math, part measurement, and CNC program exams. Their quality skills assessor was once a plant manager who worked on manufacturing equipment, so he recognizes who has the skills to fit each job requirement. Monarch Technical now offers a 30-day free trial with any day one direct hire. This allows you to make sure direct hire employees are fitting in before fees are paid. And they have a unique payment option which allows the finder's fee to be paid in 6 equal monthly payments. So if you're growing your manufacturing team this year and searching for exceptional talent, contact Monarch Technical Services at 847-342-1221. That's 847-342-1221. Or online at monarchtechnical.com. That's monarchtechnical.com.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
8:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and we're seeing on the inbound Kennedy, a disabled vehicle, right lane block. Inbound at Lake, you have stop-and-go traffic from Ohio on in, and 30 minutes in from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Inbound Ike, they've removed an earlier accident at Kedzie, and things are beginning to flow nicely now, 25 in to the old post office. The Stevenson inbound running at about 23 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Stop-and-go traffic remains on the Reagan Toll Road, I-88 westbound between the Tri-State and York. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Warmer this afternoon, mostly sunny and nice, high 87. Clear and humid for tomorrow night, low 68. For the 4th of July tomorrow, remaining humid, mostly sunny and hot with a high 92. For the fireworks tomorrow night, warm, humid, and mainly clear, low 72. I'm Cheryl Golden on AM 560, The Answer.
68 at O'Hare, 65 Lakefront. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. More people joining my ranks. The legions grow. According to Pew Research, fully 1/4 of 40-year-old Americans have never been married. That's up.
It would help if I turned my mic on. I said, that's good to know you're not alone.
It's not alone. It's growing. It's up from 20%. 1 in 5 in 2010. Now it's 25%. Back in 1980, it was 6%. Wow. Gone from 6 to 25%, a quadrupling over the last 4 decades. As,
Why is it that people don't want to get married?
I can only speak for myself on that.
Well, we want you to speak for yourself, Dan.
So
we want to know.
Mine is a very sort of narrow. I'm not making a general comment on the culture, just very narrow comment on some of the culture. Perhaps our next guest can help us. She has her finger on the pulse of things. Now her finger on the pulse of the suburbs. Bridget Fatese is all grown up. She's a contributing editor for The Spectator and host of the weekly Dumpster Fire on YouTube. Bridget, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So what do you think's going on there? We're now topping a quarter of 40-year-olds who've never been married in this country.
Yeah, I just heard that listening to you. That's actually wild. It's not surprising, but that is, I know a lot of 40-year-olds myself who aren't married. But I do know a lot of people who are kind of living and have children and aren't necessarily married. So does it take that into consideration, or are they just looking at marriage?
Yeah, probably. You're probably not a lot of emotional context to this data. Probably fairly straightforward, because then you'd also have to take into account sort of the happiness factor. How much happier are those in their 40s not married than those in their 40s who are, or 40 plus?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what that, I think there's just, the dating is atrocious from what I've seen. I always joke that if I was a therapist, I would just sit down couples and show them the swiping apps. Say, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure?
That's true, because that wasn't around back in the day.
No. And it's funny watching people kind of stumble into that world if they got married before they're like little baby seals being released into shark-infested waters.
Well, since you wrote recently about your migration to the suburbs, and now that you've got a child and a family, so I mean, how did it happen for you? A cotillion, or how'd you connect?
I mean, to be totally honest, we met in recovery. So we were both late bloomers in many senses of the word, addiction and alcoholism probably slowing us down. And we met in, 12-step programs, which is something I never thought would happen to me.
Perhaps they need one of those for dating, actually, a 12-step program.
I mean, I think just doing something where you have common interests.
Yeah, sure. So you write at this piece I referenced, had you told me when I quit drinking that a decade into sobriety I'd be a suburban Texas mom, I probably would have kept drinking. Well, it's too late for that, so tell us how suburban motherhood is going.
I love it. I was such a Gen X kid who spent so much of my life trying to, I feel like, be not normal, try and be cool and grunge, and I feel like it's all just been this long path to becoming basic and loving it. I'm sure I'll have white pumpkins any minute now.
But why is moving to the suburbs a form of surrendering?
I think because city life is so much more grueling and, in my experience, expensive. But it does feel like the suburbs are made for families with kids. There's so much stuff to do out here for children, and I feel like they can just live lives much in the same way that I was able to ride my bike around until it was dark. I see kids doing that around here. My daughter isn't old enough to do that yet, but it does feel like there's a more family-oriented vibe.
But isn't that
a better word?
Well, yeah, for sure. But isn't that sort of perverse? And isn't perhaps that's a comment on the general perversity of our major urban centers? And I lived in Chicago for 20 years in the city proper. But I mean, the idea that what's grueling. So, like, maximum punishment and high prices is what's attractive to the city.
I mean, I don't know that it was that way. When I moved to Los Angeles in my late 20s, it was still pretty affordable. I mean, I chose Los Angeles over New York because it was a place where I felt like I could still get more bang for my buck. And in the 14 or 17 years, I guess, since then, the prices have escalated. The state of the city has drastically deteriorated, and it's not affordable at all for anybody in the middle class.
Well, yeah, okay. So the disintegration of the big cities that has been going on for the last 20 years and was expedited by the rioting and turning the city over to people who don't want to prosecute criminals and so forth. That's been the watershed development over the last couple of decades, in your view.
Yeah, I think that there's just a lot of things that have changed, and then the city seemed much more affected by COVID. They were a lot more locked up in certain states than they were in suburbs, where I feel like people led a somewhat more normal life, again, depending on what state you were in.
Right, and also too, I mean, I noticed the difference, being in Chicago versus say being in Southwest Florida, and the people around you.
Yeah.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
I think until you get some change of scenery and context, you don't appreciate how much the people around you impact your quality of life. Things being easy or everything being a hassle, people generally sharing sort of the same basic values or not, imposing their will or leaving you be. And I found that that's a real delta, is the people around you, the milieu in which you live.
Yeah, and where I was living, it was very wealthy, and there was a lot of talk about diversity, but I'm not sure how much that actually played out in practice, and I didn't see it as much as I actually see it out here in the suburbs where I am now, and there isn't this constant, incessant, talk about diversity. It just is. It's just the way things are, which I think is actually quite refreshing.
Right. I love the fact you point to, like, when you talk about diversity and these, different restaurants and so forth. I love listening to like urban dilettantes talk about how they know this, this great little Ethiopian place, and that's all well and good. And I'm glad there's a great little Ethiopian place in some neighborhood that's near you or that you frequent. But how often do you go to that great little Ethiopian place? I mean, is that really material to your life? That's what you're hanging on to say the city's so vibrant and it's so dynamic because once or twice a year I go to an Ethiopian restaurant?
I'm not sure that's. I feel like it's really just status. You have to be very wealthy to live in a city and to protect yourself from a lot of the things that this happened during the pandemic, and it was outrageous to me how a lot of people who had backyards and devices for their kids and could afford tutors and nannies were expecting everybody to shut the schools down. And I'm like, who do you think this affects more? These kids shutting public playgrounds down, shutting public schools down. It was so maddening to me, that lack of awareness that this actually hurts the kids who live in apartments and they don't have Wi-Fi or devices like per kid, and their parents are still working. It's all just fake. It's like a fake reality that they live in.
Now, Bridget, can you ever see yourself moving back to the suburbs? Back into the city?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. I've learned from life that I love cities for a lot of the culture that they offer, for being able to go to museums, that was what really I enjoyed about the city and took advantage of it. I loved going in LA to the Hollywood Bowl, and I want my daughter to have the experience of being able to see what cities are like. I'm not sure I'll ever be A, wealthy enough to live in a city, or B, I'm not sure I want to anymore, or at least for the foreseeable future while my daughter is growing up.
Yeah, and at least how they currently operate, it's not so attractive, thus the flight from the cities all over the country. She is Bridget Fatese, contributing editor for The Spectator, host of the weekly Dumpster Fire on YouTube. Bridget, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
The word is out. People are abandoning their overpriced wireless carriers and flocking to Pure Talk for the same 5G coverage, but at a fraction of the price. In fact, the average family saves over $800 a year when switching from Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. Get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. Just dial pound 250 and say, switch now to save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 and say, switch now.
All right, doing it early today, taking Balance of Nature. Why? Not having enough fruits and veggies on my own. And with fruits and vegetables in a capsule, it's the best thing. It's maximum nutrition. There's 31 whole fruits and veggies in there. Real food, real nutrition, no preservatives or dyes. It is GMO, gluten-free, and it works. I have increased energy. I have the ability to keep doing the things that I love even as I age. And people that take it love it. So get the nutrition your body needs and craves. Order your bottles of fruits and veggies today, and first-timers get free shipping and 35% off their first preferred order. The number to call is 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
TV news. It's a love-hate relationship. Well, let's be honest. More hate. We agree. That's why we're different. Salem News Channel has assembled the greatest collection of conservative minds all in one place. Home to Charlie Kirk, Hugh Hewitt, Eric Metaxas, and more. There's finally a place on TV for lovers of freedom like you. Watch anytime, on any screen, free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Are you a small business owner wondering if you qualify for the Employee Retention Credit? With Careful Accounting Associates, you can receive up to $26,000 per W-2 employee in employee payroll tax refunds through this federal program. Just one call to 800-315-8175 is all it takes to find out if you qualify for quick funding with one of our accredited funding partners in as little as 72 hours. Our process has been thoroughly vetted by a team of experienced tax attorneys and CPAs, and our refund specialists will work tirelessly to get you every penny your business deserves. Plus, with our exclusive audit assistance guarantee, your business is protected. Call Careful Accounting Associates now at 800-315-8175. See if you qualify for an ERC advance payment and get the cash your business needs to succeed. That's 800-315-8175. Your small business may qualify to receive up to $26,000 per W-2 employee in employee payroll tax refunds. Call 800-315-8175 now.
It's Dr. David Kolbaba. Hey, let me tell you about our age analysis assessment. It takes just a few seconds to scan for those advanced glycated end products that cause premature aging. And then we'll briefly go over your results and give you a few things for you to do to improve. And then we'll retest you in about 60 days. And you'll pay our special low price for your first assessment, and I'll pay for your second one. That's right, your follow-up age analysis assessment is on me. And we're going to compare your biologic age with your chronologic age, and then we're going to help you determine if your biologic age is on par with your chronologic age. But you got to make that call today, not tomorrow, but today. It's our Health Quest radio hotline, 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. Second assessment free if you make that call right now, 800-794-1855. It's Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, Saturday mornings at 11.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, And in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child, too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
We can tell you about the incredible success we bring to local businesses, but it's better when it comes directly from our satisfied clients. Here's just one example.
After searching for a new vendor to handle my search marketing campaign, I contacted Salem Surround after seeing the great work they did for another restoration company in the different market. Their team of experts recommended a mix of multiple tactics designed to get my business the most quality leads at the lowest cost, making my marketing budget stretch further. In our first year partnering with Salem Surround, we recorded our best year to date, and I've told many people how blessed I was to find them. The representative answered the phone every time I called and quickly addressed any questions or concerns I had.
Let Salem Surround give you an absolutely free audit of your current marketing and show you what your competition is doing. Then we can come up with a personalized plan that's perfect for your needs. Visit surroundchicago.com and let our marketing experts help you achieve real success. Remember to visit surroundchicago.com today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, this is exciting. The big guy, Mr. 10%, has a plan to save the planet. He and the mystics in the Biden administration are looking at limiting sunlight to rapidly cool the planet, a process they're calling solar radiation modification. They're going to block out the sun.
Oh, come on. That's not a Babylon Bee article.
We've got audio of the big guy talking to one of his underlings about it.
Okay.
No, not while my greatest nemesis still provides our customers with free light, heat, and energy. I call this enemy the sun. Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Solar radiation.
Good God. Imagine it, Smithers. Electrical lights and heaters running all day long.
But, sir, every plant and tree will die. Owls will deafen us with incessant hooting. The town sundial will be useless. I don't want any part of this project. It's unconscionably fiendish.
I will not suffer your insubordination.
And John Kerry is now in the doghouse. You heard that exchange between the two.
Yes.
One method, there are other methods in addition to the contraption that Biden was describing there. Significantly increase the amount of aerosols in the stratosphere, which would reflect the sun's rays from the planet. Other ideas floated, including increasing cloud coverage over oceans, reducing the amount of cirrus cloud formations, which reflect solar radiation back to the Earth. Now, the report did note that the undertaking of the task could have severe ramifications for weather patterns and food supplies, which would in turn impact biodiversity and people's health. But, I mean, you're going to break a few eggs when you're saving the planet. At least Obama just wanted to part the seas. The waters would recede. They literally have a plan at the White House to block the sun. Okay. But these eco-supremacists, they're not religious zealots either, right?
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:38, we are celebrating our nation's birth tomorrow. And to help us do that, I can't think of a better person than Senior Master Sergeant Israel D.T. Del Toro. He's got a new book, A Patriot's Promise. We'll talk to him at 8:38.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, we have clear skies and 70 degrees at 8:30 on AM 560. The Answer. A number of states are investigating weekend shootings. In Maryland, 2 were killed, 28 wounded at a block party in South Baltimore. Meantime, a shooting at a Wichita, Kansas nightclub left several injured early Sunday morning. Authorities are calling the deaths of 6 in a South Carolina house fire a homicide. Bodies were found yesterday morning in Green Pond. One surviving victim was found in critical condition and airlifted to a nearby hospital. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says he's backing the Supreme Court decision allowing a Christian web designer to refuse to create a same-sex wedding website.
The government doesn't have the right to tell a business the nature of how they need to use their expressive abilities.
Appearing on CNN's State of the Union. Thousands of hotel workers are on strike in Southern California demanding better pay and other benefits. A man is in custody following a deadly shooting in the city's Little Village neighborhood. It happened around 12:15 this morning. Chicago firefighter is recovering after he was injured in a blaze in the city's Austin neighborhood. Happened in the 1200 block of North Laverne early yesterday morning. Rain nearly washed out NASCAR's first ever Chicago street race. After attempting to start early and beat the storms, NASCAR was forced to push back the beginning of that race. But once underway, we finally had a winner. It was Shane Van Gisbergen winning the race in Grant Park.
The changes in surface were extreme, like to go from old to new, and then the concrete. I've never driven on concrete like that, really. Maybe Sebring a little bit, but then when it rained, the concrete was crazy slippery for everyone. So quite different. But for NASCAR, like their first ever street race, and yeah, it's credit to NASCAR to nail it on their first weekend, and hopefully it leads to more street courses, and I'd love to be here for them.
His first career Cup Series start leads to his first NASCAR win. Chicago sports found the White Sox winners over the A's 8-7. Chicago avoiding the 3-game sweep, while the Cubs lost to the Guardians at Wrigley 8-6. The Bulls bringing some depth in their backcourt to the team, inking guard Javon Carter to a 3-year, $20 million deal. The news service of MyPillow. Big news, brand new MyPillow 2.0, machine washable and dryable, a 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com, promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher, The Mike Gallagher Show.
Have you heard about Hunter Biden's text message to a Chinese business associate?
I don't know if it's going to break through. The mainstream media has an excuse again not to cover it. They're covering everything about Russia and the Wagner Group.
That's how pitiful and corrupt and despicable they are.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
My brother was here with his wife, and I said, listen, take the rest of these 2 bottles. And my brother's like, well, and I said, no, there's nothing to think about. Just get it, order it, get it on auto ship. And in the first couple months, you may not thank me and go, I don't feel anything. But I said, but about that 3rd month, it starts kicking in. I mean, I'm singing, I'm doing dishes. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE, Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
The Venture X card from Capital One gives you premium travel benefits, perfect for seeing Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Presented by Capital One. Ooh, I do love her. Earn 5 times miles on flights
and 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel.
Enjoy your stay in Suite 13.
Whoa, 13? That's Taylor's lucky number. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
8:36. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center. And this report is a service of Irish Spring. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are the reset you need to own the day. You're ready. Pick up Irish Spring at your local retailer today. Inbound Kennedy, they've cleared an accident inbound at Ohio. The Kennedy is jammed, though. Express lanes inbound between Kimball and Ohio this morning. Stevenson inbound, earlier crash removed from the exit ramp to the inbound Dan Ryan, but still 28 minutes into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Lakeshore Drive southbound lanes are expected to reopen sometime after 4 p.m. Wednesday, July 4th, after the NASCAR event clears Grant Park. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny and pleasant will top out at 87 today. Clear, humid, 68 overnight. 73 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So we celebrate our nation's birth tomorrow. And it's against the backdrop of a lot of entitled bedwetters that have been afforded so much in this country, have been able to access unbelievable opportunities, and yet denigrate the country, like the way Natasha Cloud does. She's a professional athlete. She plays basketball in the WNBA. And she didn't agree with the Supreme Court's decisions last week, so she wrote, "Our country is trash in so many ways, and instead of using our resources to make it better, we continue to oppress marginalized groups that we have targeted since the beginning of times. Black and brown communities and LGBTQ+. Man, we are too powerful to still be attacking issues separately." Yeah. This the same country that rescued her colleague Brittany Griner from a Russian prison, right? And just even separating, just setting aside her ignorance of the substance of those Supreme Court decisions, and just generally, our country is trash in so many ways. Our country, individual people. So, unfortunately, we have to spend a lot of time on this show dealing with those individual people who are a bit trashy and a bit ill-informed, because, unfortunately, they have an outsized impact on our culture. So it's nice to go the other direction from time to time and be able to talk to people who serve as an example of what is possible and as an inspiration for what people can overcome, like real adversity, not manufactured adversity like somebody said a crossword, like real adversity after you're wounded and almost killed in service to our country, service to all of us, Natasha Cloud and you and me as well. So we're pleased to be joined by Senior Master Sergeant, retired, Israel D.T. Del Toro, Jr., that is. You've seen Senior Master Sergeant Del Toro on Fox News and other places. He served in the U.S. Air Force in Afghanistan as a special warfare operator. He was injured in action in 2005. He has been instrumental in the creation of the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program. Del Toro is the first 100% disabled airman to re-enlist in the Air Force. He is the recipient of the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star, and the Pat Tillman Award for service. And he's got a new book, A Patriot's Promise, Protecting My Brothers, Fighting for My Life, and Keeping My Word. Senior Master Sergeant Israel D.T. Del Toro, Jr., thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me. Thank you also, Amy. You can just call me DT to keep repeating that long.
Yeah, well, you earned it, so I'll call you whatever you want to call you. Whatever you want to call me. Okay, DT. All right, so refresh people's recollection of what happened to you and what you went through and why you went through it to go back to enlisting again. I mean, doing something that's unthinkable almost.
Yeah. So on December 4th, I was out on a mission with my scout team. Because my job is, I call them the airstrikes. So they put us wherever a unit they think is going to be in most danger. So I was out with those guys because we had a high-value target. We had to capture and kill, and a supply route the Taliban was using. So we're coming back to pick up our other half of our team, and when we crossed the creek, no more than 200 meters after crossing it, I feel an intense heat blast on the left side, and I realized I got hit. So I got out of the truck, but when I got out of the truck, I was on fire from head to toe. I collapsed, thinking this is it for me. Thinking I broke my promise to my family that I always come back. Broke my promise to my son. I'll never let him grow up without his dad like I did. But most importantly, I'm going to break my promise to my dad that I made to him before he passed, that I always take care of my family. But one of my teammates helps me up, and we both jumped into the creek to extinguish the flames. And then as soon as I got hit, the second half of my team was hitting the crossfire, so now they're calling back for help. So even though I got hit, I had to figure out how to call in airstrikes because my radios were destroyed, and so were my backups. But luckily, one of my other teammates had a radio called an embedder, and I told him to repeat everything I say to get some help in here. And by the time the last transmission went out, that's when I started getting scared because the adrenaline had gone down. I was having a hard time breathing. And my teammate helped me find my spark. And I tell everyone we all have a spark, which is kind of ironic that a burn guy now is telling people we have a spark inside of us. And it kept me up, him finding my spark, which was my son, had me, repeat, I got to find my son until the medevac came. I remember they wanted to carry me to the helicopter. It's like, no, I walked into this battle. I'm going to walk out.
Wow.
And I get in the helicopter. I remember coming in and out of consciousness on the helicopter, landing at our forward operating base, going in our field hospital. And the doctor comes off my watch and telling me it'd be okay. That was, like I said, December 4th, 2005. I wake up March of 2006, and I was in a coma for 4 months. When I woke up, they started asking me, do you know where you're at? Obviously, I was thinking I was in Germany. They're like, no, San Antonio. Do you know the date? It's like December. It's like, no, it's March. So it was crazy them trying to tell me that, we gave you a 15% chance to live. 80% of your body has third-degree burns. You almost died 3 times, but now, you're awake. You still got a long recovery. You're going to be in here for another year and a half. You may not walk again. You'll be on a respirator for the rest of your life. And your military career is pretty much over. But I wasn't going to accept that. I never accepted what people said my life was going to be. And I was going to choose how my life's going to be. And 2 months after they told me that, I left that hospital walking and breathing on my own. And people ask me, why do you want to continue to, what do you want to do, DT? It's like, I just want to continue to serve. It's like, why? I was like, you're becoming good at this public speaking. You can make a lot of money. And it's true. Some public speakers can make up to 6-figure for a 45 to an hour speech. But I used to tell them, it's like, there's thousands of people out there, hundreds of thousands that make good money and hate their job. So why am I going to give up a job that I love? I love serving my country. I love being in the military. I love being in the Air Force. I love being an operator. So why am I going to give that up for a couple bucks? And it took about 5 years to show that I still had value. Yes, I can't be out downrange as an operator, because of my injuries. I understand that, but if they told me if you would go downrange, I was like, I'll go in a heartbeat. But I know I could teach. I can get the next generation of special operation operators going. And on February 2010, that's when I became the first 100% disabled airman to enlist.
And what has your role, the teaching role that you're describing? What has that meant to you? How has that progressed over the last decade plus?
I really enjoyed it. Some people were afraid. They're like, "Is this the first face we want to show these young men when they're training for this career field?" And I used to tell them, you know what? If they can see me, see what happened to me, and realize the dangers that our job is, and they still want to do the job, then that's someone I want doing my career field. That's someone I want fighting by my side. And it was great. I got to be with my guys again. Some of the instructors were obviously teammates of mine. But then seeing these young cats, being on the other side, at one point you were a student and now being the instructor, it was unique. And yeah, I didn't think I was like the mean instructor. If I yelled at them or I got on them, there's a reason. I always explained that to them. I was like, hey, man, this is like why I'm on you. Because you can see when they're starting to give up. And I didn't want my guys to give up, so I will try and motivate them and use whatever they can to overcome their moment of weakness or doubt, or them doubting themselves. But it was great. I did it for 5 years. I became a world-class athlete, para-world-class athlete. I trained here at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. And after the Paralympics, I went to the Air Force Academy and teach cadets how to skydive.
Wow. Until
I retired August of 2019.
Now, a lot of people may not know, but in your new book, A Patriot's Promise, you have an Illinois connection, and you actually, when you were in high school, got a scholarship to University of Illinois.
I did. I'm from south suburbs of Chicago. Grew up in the Joliet, New Lenox area, and it's when I mentioned earlier how I wasn't going to let someone tell me what my life was going to be. When I was a senior in high school and I wanted to go to college, I wanted to go to the University of Illinois. And I remember my counselor saying, maybe we should go to a junior college. And nothing's wrong with a junior college, but I wanted to go to the University of Illinois. And, from just to prove them wrong, I applied and then I get a full academic scholarship. And I went back to my counselor's desk and slammed the letter of acceptance and the scholarship, and pretty told him to F off. But I probably should have rethink that, because my counselor, I went to Providence Catholic. It was a priest. And so I got a month's worth of attention, but it was so worth it, though.
I went to Bennett Academy, so we were a rival of yours back in the day. I'm a couple years older than you, but just thinking about military. I mean, since you've committed your life to the service, a lot of reporting recently about the recruitment problems, and there was a story even last week about veterans discouraging their children from serving in the military. How do you react to what's going on? What do you think the challenge is with recruitment right now?
Yeah, I think what has happened is we have so many naysayers out there that are the loud voices of how they say our country's like crap and it's no good, and it's like you said earlier, a WNBA person that's trashing the country.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these people have never left the country, have never gone other places and see the reality how great this country is. Bethany Griner, she used to say the Star Spangled Banner, our national anthem, should not be sung, sung at events. And I guarantee she has a different insight on that now, being imprisoned in Russia. So a lot of these people don't know. They don't understand. My family's from Mexico, and even going to Mexico, you can get arrested for anything, anytime, anywhere, and extorted. Yep. So people just don't understand, and so I think that's what happens with a lot of the recruitment. They're seeing all that. There's 24/7 news, or obviously they report when people say stuff like that, because it gets clicks, gets headlines, and it discourages them. So, my best thing I can say is don't listen to the naysayers. Do your own research. Yes, our country has flaws. Every country has flaws. I don't know of any perfect country out there in the world, but our country is probably the closest to the least flaws out there, and I'll fight her to the day, and be proud of her.
A lot of talk about adversity. Some of it is phony, and some of it's real. Yours is real, and it's not just with respect to what happened to you serving our country. I mean, you mentioned your father passing away when you were not even a teenager. Your mother was killed by a drunk driver a short time after. You've got 3 siblings, right?
Yes,
so when you've gone through all that you've gone through, both as a young man with your family and then as a young man in service to our country, I mean, there had to be moments, I suspect, I don't know, there had to be moments where you do the why me, and this isn't fair. And I wonder if and when those moments occurred, how did you get through them to the other side? Because I think that's probably really instructive for people that are facing challenges.
For me, of course, I had those moments. Anytime I've in the book, I talk about how I felt I was cursed, because anytime I had a high, I get knocked right back down. Something tragic would happen from my dad to my mom, then to my cousin who was like a brother to me, to my grandma. It just all these things kept happening, but I couldn't get through it on my own. Luckily, I had friends. When my dad passed, I really engulfed myself in sports. I stopped playing soccer because that was the sport my dad loves watching me play. And so I focused a lot on football and baseball. And I had my teammates there. And then when I joined the military, I had my military family be there by my side anytime I came back from losing my cousin or losing my grandma, and them being there for me. And sometimes you don't see the big picture. You don't understand why this is happening to you. Why are all these obstacles being thrown in front of you? And sometimes I think the big man had a plan for me and wanted to prepare me for my biggest obstacle, which was going to happen on December 4th, and help me so I can get over it, overcome it, and then be able to help people overcome their dark times, because we all have them. We all have those times where we think we can't do it, but we do have that spark, and sometimes we find it on our own, and sometimes you got to hear the story of someone that went through it and how they overcame it and how they didn't give up to help them overcome their dark times. And that's what the purpose of why I wanted to write this, but also to honor my dad, because in reality, it's just a 12-year-old kid just trying to make his dad proud.
He is Senior Master Sergeant Israel D.T. Del Toro, Jr. The new book, A Patriot's Promise, Protecting My Brothers, Fighting for My Life, and Keeping My Word. By the way, DT had a smart home built for him in Colorado by Tunnel to Towers, so we want to thank our listeners again who participated in our recent golf outing where Tunnel to Towers was the beneficiary. Great organization. And DT, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with the book, and everybody pick it up and make it your July 4th duty. A Patriot's Promise is the book, Israel D.T. Del Toro, Jr. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dan and Amy. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you, and God bless. We appreciate you and all that you've done. And he joined us on our turnkey Pro Answer Line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sean Thompson here for my friend Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth. There aren't many people who would knowingly leave their job to start another job for a 30% cut in pay. And yet, people do it every day when they enter retirement. Why enter the exciting new chapter of your life with less money? Why trade the stress of work for more stress in retirement? Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group can help. Just call Tom at 630-934-1855 for your complimentary, customized retirement. It addresses many of the big questions you may have, like what to do about Social Security, managing your investments, and how to create income you can never outlive. You can downsize your house, but don't downsize your lifestyle. Get a complimentary, customized retirement plan at 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. That's alphawealthgroup.com.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, RWA, an SEC registered investment advisor. RWA and Alpha Wealth Group are independent of each other. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Our doctor thinks it's wonderful. Well, we got more energy. We feel like doing more. Yeah, we're 83 and 84 years old. And we're talking about buying a pontoon boat. What's that tell you? We may say, hey, come out and film us.
I had my checkup, and I told the doctor, and he said, and I showed him what I was taking. He said, well, I have to look into Balance of Nature. He said, that's great. So he may be referring orders to you, too.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
You may have heard some talk about the ERC, that's the Employee Retention Credit. It's a federal program that provides small business owners like you up to $26,000 per W-2 employee in payroll tax refunds to your business. What's not to like about that? Just one call to Careful Accounting Associates at 800-315-8175 is all it takes to find out if you qualify for quick funding with one of our accredited funding partners in as little as 72 hours. Our process has been thoroughly vetted by a team of experienced tax attorneys and CPAs, and our refund specialists will work tirelessly to get you every penny your business deserves. Plus, with our exclusive audit assistance guarantee, your business is protected. Call Careful Accounting Associates now at 800-315-8175. See if you qualify for an ERC advance payment and get the cash your business needs to succeed. That's 800-315-8175. Your small business may qualify to receive up to $26,000 per W-2 employee in employee payroll tax refunds. Call 800-315-8175 now.
AM 560, The Answer.
Well, DT Del Toro puts the silly problems most of us have in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, he sure does.
Yeah, I'd say.
And
impressive.
Yeah, and everybody should read his book and know his story if they're saying things like America
is trash. A Patriot's Promise, again, is the book. Do pick it up. A Patriot's Promise, Israel Del Toro.
All right. Thanks so much to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy, our technical producer. We are off tomorrow, so happy birthday, America. Have some fun and stay